Been?
Oh no, man, it's all damn good. I need to be talking about all of this, man. Week 12. Week 12 versus Cleveland freaking Browns.
Man.
3-5 team. And we were 5-5. We should have been Bucks fans, we should have known better. We should have known better than to go in the game thinking it was gonna be a wash. It was gonna be whatever. It was gonna be a lesser team versus our potent offense. We should have known better. I wrote about it. I told you about it. But the outcome is the outcome. Buccaneers lost overtime 23-17. I got Big Slim from the Swords and Cannon podcast.
Yo.
We're going to break it down. We're going to talk about it all. We're going to get it all together. You are now listening to Outside Leverage. This is week 12. Buccaneers, Cleveland. Here we go. Slim, we're going to run that back. I got to. Got to run it back. 1 second. Oh, so let me start there, man.
Yep.
All right, 1 second, man. Technical issues. That's that quick. All right, here we go. One more time on the intro. Here we go. Week 12. All right. Got that right at least. Holy sheesh. Welcome back, man. Big Slam, boy. Coming off another one.
Yeah.
Coming off another loss.
Yeah.
Another loss to a team that not even okay. Let's never mind the team because I think a bad thing that we're doing as Buccaneers fans. I'm guilty of this. I'm not sure if you are as well. But getting into a bad habit or sometimes just placing a bad habit of looking at the Buccaneers versus the team and thinking that their record is their record. We know, or should know as a for a fact, that records don't make what a team actually is.
Yeah.
It's about what you do on the Sundays that you're playing, or the Mondays that you're playing, or the Thursdays that the team is playing.
Yeah.
Our Buccaneers went into this game, into week 12, with a 5-5 record, knowing good and damn well, anybody who watched the games, that this Buccaneers team should probably be a 1 or 2 loss team.
Yeah.
When you look at the production or the performances, at least on one half of the ball, and what the defense has done to other teams, have kept these other teams under the NFL average of 22 points in a game. I think there's only 2 teams that the Bucs have not done that with. you look at the performance there, and you look at what's going on. Why would we look at another team and think, okay, this team is 2 wins beneath us, so they must not be good? I think a lot of fans fall into that trap. I've fallen into it just a couple times. I normally catch myself, but this was another one. We faced a team who shouldn't have been able to be able to stay on the field with us, talent wise. On the defensive side of the ball, they had some monsters over there, man. They had Denzel Ward. They got Myles Garrett. They've got several players on the defensive side of the ball. I'll start with those 2 who are mean and very productive. And I mean, they really like 2 of the best at their positions, right? But you look on the offensive side of the ball, they got Nick Chubb, and then you got to start looking through their depth chart to figure out, what other talent comes in there. You got Kareem Hunt. He's been a solid player in the past, but he's been a disgruntled player recently.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot going on, man, but this team stayed on the field with us, and eventually came out victorious because we did what we've seen our offense do once again. And I'm still saying we. I'm not jumping ship. I'm still saying we. That's our team.
Right.
We did what we do on offense. We showed up barely. Showed up and disappeared, man. When you're looking at this game as a whole, when you're looking at this game and you're looking at the team, where do you see? What do you see on the offensive side of the ball? What do you see that makes things work, or do you see things that ain't working? Like, where do you see it? Like, where is it coming in from? Like, why is there no leadership on this team on the offensive side of the ball? We got two guys who have not just. We have guys who are not just NFL not head coaches, but coaching. But we got quarterbacks, two of them. Byron Leftwich, who's the OC and the longest tenured player, one of the longest tenured players in NFL history, and definitely the longest tenured player in the last 20-some years, and Tom Brady. Neither one of these cats can figure out how to make this offense work. And it showed up again here in this game.
Yeah.
Where's it coming from? Where do we look at? How do we hate placing blame on players? We hate placing blame on anybody other than the coaches a lot of times. But in this case, when you got somebody with the experience of a Tom Brady, who's supposed to be a field manager, he's the guy. He's the face of the offense, face of the franchise, and you got a former quarterback who should be in the same mindset when it comes to like field position, game management. Why? Why do we have two people who can't seem to get it right all of a sudden this year? But not all of a sudden. Well, I'll touch on that in a second. But this year, worse than ever. How do we get to this point in this game?
Man, for me, man, it's enough to go around. But I stick to my guns and say, I would just say execution, man. Like, I mean, a lot of people can put on the play calls and the coaching, and true enough, all of those are factors. But for me, in my eye test, actually watching the games, game in and game out, it's so many plays that we leave on the field, man. It's so many plays that if they work, we'll probably be different, have a different look on as far as the play calling narrative because we're like, oh, well, that was a good play, that was a good play, that was a good play. Like I feel like each game is plays that's left on the field, scoring plays almost, or plays that can convert those third downs and keep the drive going. There, we just fall short on. Whether it's blocking, whether it's just catching the ball, Brady not making the throws, players dropping the ball. It just looked like chaos out there. It looked like it's just a bunch of chickens running around with no head sometimes. And when you do, I think with that, you put the play calling, you put the coaching in even in a worse position because the margin of error is so slim. You know what I mean? Like he has to call the right play every time because of the lack of execution. So I think a lot of times, man, like just not saying that everything is perfect, not saying that Byron doesn't have his faults. I just think collectively as an offense, we just don't execute at a high level, man. And it's been the same echoing out the building, out the locker room, in the press conference from players and coaches. So I take that with some value because they trying to tell you like, hey, we have to execute better. And I think with execution, we score more points. I think with block, I think it's all a tree. With blocking, we are able to execute better. With if we execute better, we'll score more points. And I think a lot of it just really just adds fuel to the fire to the play calling because when the play calling isn't up to snuff or you kind of sniff out what plays is coming and you don't execute, it just make it all look even worse, man. So for me, as far as if you're going back to the original question on leadership and all that, man, of course it comes down to Brady. Of course it's a split between Brady and Byron because Bowles have said plenty of times he don't have anything to do with the offense. He worried about the defense, left which runs the offense. I think Bowles makes certain executive decisions based on whether we go for it or what he wants out the offense to do certain things. But as a whole, this is the left with Brady show. So whatever disconnect is going on between those two, that's kind of rolling over to what we're doing on Sundays, Mondays, or Thursdays, it just isn't working. It's really since the 3 years have been going on, this is the worst year. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of things, man, and like I say, a lot of it just kind of goes into execution, man, and having two of our starters out the offensive line for last year going wrong doesn't help. But Marpet leaving, and then we had Little Stinny, Aaron Stinny that supposed to win in. He got hurt in training camp, so we down to essentially a third string, a rookie that started, and he ain't cutting it. Now we down to basically another third string, a backup center, Nick Levy cutting it at left guard, doing better. But still, Nick Levy isn't Adam Marpet. And you got Robert Hainsey, who's a guy that wasn't even cut out to play center. He was a right tackle in college, and he's trying to figure out his center, trying to command his whole thing. So I think that has a lot to it's a combination of things, dog. It's not one thing we can put our finger on, but for me and my eye test and my perspective, I say it starts with that. I think you can cover up a lot of the deficiency in the play calling if you just execute. But if you ain't
Yeah.
executing, it just I don't give a damn if it's the right play or not. If you don't execute the play, it just ain't gonna work. So that's my
Yeah.
position.
Yeah, specific to this game, it's specific to the Week 12 outing, where we saw scenarios where the Bucks offense, again, habitually, they go into a lull. Our offense goes into a lull every freaking game. I mean, obviously, as fans of football, we know, and fans who watch a lot of football, we know good and damn well we're not going to score every single drive.
Right.
But in every single game, there shouldn't be a point where you just know the offense isn't going to move the ball. And it shouldn't show up. And it does statistically where the offense just doesn't move the ball and they can't move the ball. I think in this game, we had 7 3-and-outs. Seven 3-and-outs. We had, I believe it was 4 drives that didn't last a minute.
Yeah. That last drive it lasted 14 seconds.
Yeah, it's
14 seconds.
Yeah, like that kind of thing, man. That's kind of a crazy stat that we can't really you almost can't wrap your head around this kind of thing,
Yeah.
man. It's crazy to see our offense be that inept. You know what I mean? Like for our offense to be that inept and do it habitually.
Yeah. I mean, when you talk about terms like that, it translates into time possession. And I'm looking at it, and we're the fourth worst in the league in time possession. The three worst teams in time possession is Seattle, Houston, and Carolina. New Orleans, Atlanta, and the Jets are above us to three. But within that the three teams above and three teams worse than us, all those teams are bad. Except for Seattle, basically record wise, but New Orleans not doing anything, Atlanta not doing anything, Houston definitely not doing anything, Carolina's not doing anything. So collectively as the NFC South, if we are the worst division, we're proving it because we don't have any offense between all four teams. New Orleans, Atlanta, Tampa Bay, then Carolina last. So when you talk about offense, man, that's a direct correlation to what we do on offense. We can't stay on the field, and with that, that means less time to score points, less time to move the ball. So it just once again, that comes down to execution. It comes down to actually trying to execute the plays that's called, whether they're bad or not. Like I say, it's hard to tell what plays aren't good because we don't do the good plays good. So
right, because we are executing right.
We ain't executed. So when you talk about man, just the lull, those are those lulls where it's just 3-and-outs over and over and over and over and over. You're talking about drives lasting 14 seconds. Come on.
Yeah, you know what? Let's take a look. Let's take a look and pay attention to these to the Week 12 drives with the Bucks, and let's take a look at how their team, how the offense actually broke down, how they played. Let's
Yo.
Right. So the offense comes out and we get a touchdown. And then we go punt, punt, field goal, punt, touchdown, punt, 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 OT, punt, punt. That's not that's not can that's not that's not good at all.
Nah.
Like how does a team expect to win? How does a fan base expect a team to win when that is the output? And this, I mean, and it's like this every other game where you have that kind of an output like that. That is terrible. That's terrible. That's just. And when you look at this stuff like this, man, when you look at those drives and you look at the game how it unfolded, the reason why I wanted to start off with the question of where's the leadership on offense, I go back to a week or two ago when we played the Rams and we won the game in regulation, last minute drive.
Yeah.
Jalen Ramsey of the Los Angeles Rams, he didn't hold back when he talked about hey, like there need to be some dogs on offense that could come in and put an end to these games and close out the games on offense when the defense has been out there and doing what they do as well as they've done. Why? I know it's blasphemous for a lot of fans and a lot of people paying attention to and watching things. Why don't we have a guy on offense who can say, hey, enough is enough. We got to make something happen. We got to slow things down or pick things up. Like, why is that not our franchise quarterback or our face of the franchise in Tom Brady? Why is that not the case with him? I know he's not a rah-rah guy, but why can we not rely on him to get the offense straight other than talking to or yelling at the offensive line every now and again? Like, why is he not being held to a standard of, hey, let's use your 20 plus years of experience. Hey, take control of the game. Hey, make things happen, or call it as you see it. Why has that not been the case?
I don't know, man. It's weird, and you when you watch the game, you see Brady chewing players out, and he has these emotions after a play doesn't work. Even when he made a bad throw, he'll clap his helmet, or if a player doesn't run the route correctly, or if something goes wrong, you see the emotion out of Brady. You see Brady on the sideline, he might grill the offensive line if they're not playing up the snow. So I think the emotion is there. I just think as a collective offense, you talking about having a dog. I just think these players play nervous, man. I think they're so idolized by Brady that they don't want to let them down, that they play nervous, and it's one of those things. It's weird, you might want to say, okay, Mike Evans need to be one of those guys, a 10-year guy been with the team the whole time. Yeah. He should have a standard of just, hey, no, we're not playing up to snuff. Like, we got to stop this. Like, what's going on? Like, you don't see that on the offensive side. You might see on the defense side, the linebackers might get up and they might pep talk themselves, to kind of get back in the game for half the game in certain games. Not saying the Bucs, but in general. But as far as us, it just who? It ain't nobody. Like, I think if it ain't Brady, you see, I can't see Brady say you don't see Brady getting frustrated. You don't see Brady talking to him in the huddle like, hey, we finna do this. Let's do this. We're gonna run this play. Like, you do this, whatever. I can't say I don't see that. It just, damn, like, you can yell at these guys all day long, but they still got to pass. I think they still got to catch the ball. They still got to block. They still got to execute. So right. I think, after a while, all the yelling ain't gonna mean anything if you're still not doing what you're supposed to do. So
yeah,
I don't know, man. It's a weird situation. I don't know. Like, maybe Bruce Arians was one of those guys. They used to come, get in the player ear or be like, hey, let's do this, do this. That voice is missing. Maybe Bruce Arians was one of them guys that used to tell the offense like, hey, now we got to do this. We got to go ahead and score these points. Byron Leftwich is conservative. He's passive. He's not raising his voice yelling at nobody. He's buddy with everybody. Like, he's acting like the supervisor, your friend that made supervisor. Like, he don't want to cause no waves.
Just happy to be there.
Yeah. So when you look at it, you have Brady that's probably that person, and Brady doing what he can, but at the end, like, it's still not translating into executing. It's still not translating into the offense playing better.
Yeah. Now, specific to this game, when we're gonna talk about this next here coming up as we talk about the blame and so forth about specific plays and specific scenarios. In this game, we had a point where the Bucks had a 17-10 lead with 7 minutes and 40 seconds left in the game.
Correct.
The Bucks went the next 4 drives not doing the damn thing. I think it was a net gain of 30-some yards, 38 yards, and there were three and outs in those drives. Like when I mentioned who's going to take the leadership in the offense, when you got a Leftwich and you got a Brady on the sideline, I'm going to skip all the way to the end of the game, where this is the biggest talking point in Tampa and a lot of sports media right now, talking about the timeout situations, especially after we just saw we saw several instances this week about crazy timeout situations and clock management. When you see a player, when you have a team and you got a guy like Tom Brady who's got all this experience, who's seen all these things, when that your offense haven't moved the ball, and your best option or your best move to actually get the ball going, which has been in the past the same thing. We talk about taking Byron Leftwich out of the situation. Don't let him call plays, go in a no huddle, go into a hurry up, do that. Get the defense on the move. Why would a Tom Brady not insist on making that kind of a play happen coming into like the last possession of the game, when we basically didn't have a whole lot of time going? But he didn't. It seemed like he conceded as well to go with what people are calling conservative, the conservative direction that Ty Bowles or whoever was made the call. Like, why wouldn't our guy be that kind of a stand-up guy, like, hey, we can do it, we can get to the other side of the ball, let's make something happen, let's go no huddle, let's keep them on their toes? Why isn't that happening? Like, why? I keep asking, why isn't this kind of things happening? Because we've seen it from other players. I've seen it from other quarterbacks. Right. I know they have other weapons and they have other things they can do, like running the ball, scrambling, and extending plays and so forth. But this is what everybody keeps saying. This is the GOAT. This is Tom Brady. By the way, I'm not calling him a GOAT like that. But this is Tom Brady. Why can't we lean on Tom Brady to do that kind of a thing?
I think Tom Brady does sometimes. If you think about the last drive, and Bo said that his own mouth, he was like, "Hey, the plan was if we don't get enough yards on the first play, we're just gonna just let it run out." So they never had a plan to come out and just really give a try, like really try to move the ball to get in the field goal range. Everything was based off the first play. The first play was a screen to Rachaad White. He would have got like 1 or 2 yards.
Yeah,
I think at that moment, that's why the timeout wasn't called, because they had already said it. Like, hey, if we don't get any yards, we're just gonna just take this thing to overtime. I think in that specific moment, Tom Brady said, "Fuck that, we're gonna run this play." Because you see, he went no huddle. He didn't. I don't even think he looked at the sideline anymore. He ran. He did the no huddle. He called the play. He did 20, then 20, 25 yards to Julio.
26 yards to Julio. Yeah.
26 yards up the seam and cover 2 to Julio. Now, those are situations where I feel like Tom Brady is just like, fuck that, I'm finna take over. We finna try. We not finna just lay down. So in those situations, I see he do it. But I think overall, Tom is just really saying, okay, I'm gonna trust the coach. I'm gonna follow what the coach is doing. I think Tom is one of those guys that he will, but then I don't think he want to step on Byron's toes to the point where it drives a wedge or a rift with the offense. Because now, if you undermine Byron Leftwich all the time, how does it affect the huddle? How does it affect the rest of the offense? Yeah. And then you do have a coach like Todd Bowles that will say, "Nah, we ain't going for it." Like in a 4th and 2 situation where even myself was saying, "Hey, we should have just went. We should have tried." I mean, yeah, we could have probably kicked 55-yard field goal with the wind and the weather and all that, but that was better than kicking a punt that netted on the 17 yards. Like, I would rather for us to try. Because here's the thing. Todd Bowles said that, hey, I would trust my defense in this situation. That's why I decided to punt. But you had to take a delay of game to get more yards to make the punt more effective. So my thing is, if you trust your defense that much, you should better trust your defense no matter if the ball landed inside the 5 or it was at the 37 off a failed attempt to get the first down off the 4th. So in that 4th and 2nd, you could tell they get the call, Byron said, go out there and do it. But the call was to try to draw him off sides. That didn't work. They took the delay of game. Brady snapped his chin straight out and started cussing. So you could tell Brady was frustrated with the conservative, play calling, conservative decision making that was going on. So that's two situations out just off the game that I realized that, what's going on isn't really in tune with what Brady want to do. I think that what Brady was like, hey, we're not seeing the same things, stuff like that. And I think he was kind of saying that as a whole, as far as the coach staff and play calling, like, hey, on the field, Brady would like to take more chances, but per, the viral lift with your Todd Bowles, they're kind of like, no, we're just gonna lean on the defense. And to your point, it's only so much you can lean on the defense until they bend. You don't want a situation like Jalen Ramsey come out on our side and say, hey, I just wish the offense was just goddamn it say, no, we going for it. Because if you can if you can trust your defense that much, roll your dice with the offense. It's 4th and 2 at the 37. Go for it. Like, try to go for it. Don't punt the ball saying we want to pin them back. It don't matter. Like, if you trust your defense, you can trust them at the 37, you can trust them at the 5, you can trust them at the 20. So, in hindsight, yeah, it was a horrible decision. But for me, watching the game in real time, and I think Tom Brady and maybe others agreed, like, hey, this is our chance to really put the game in our favor. Let's go up 2 scores. Let's go for it. Let's try it. Like, let's do something. If we ain't moving the ball as well, and we had this situation, we had this opportunity to really get closer and really get an opportunity to score, you got to take that chance. You can't just say, oh, it's 4th and 2, we're just going to go back on the defense, because essentially you're not trusting your offense, and that's how you lost the game, because the offense didn't do anything. But you didn't also allow them to even fucking try when you had an opportunity for them to try. I think that play right there kind of just was the turning point in the whole offense as far as the momentum, because common sense would tell you, nah, coach don't trust the offense. He didn't trust the offense. So I think, man, like, in those two situations, not going on, but those two situations, I could say that Tom Brady was like, hey, I want to do this, I want to go for it, I want to be a little more aggressive. But, that's when I can't defend the play calling at that point. I can't defend the coaching decision at that point. I mean, Todd Bowles said in the interview on the presser Monday, like, what was his mindset? And it was tail between your legs, loser mentality coaching. Like, you're not going to win games like that. Like, just the excuse of saying, hey, well, the offense wasn't doing much. That was on the 37. That was good enough. You're right there now. Go for it. Try to take the game. You got to try to win. You're playing not to lose, but you're not trying to play to win. So that was my issue.
Okay. So now I actually don't agree on that one. I actually don't agree with the and again, I know it's a popular notion, and I know a lot of cats feel that way. Now, I don't think in that instance. Now, I didn't like the punt, but I didn't think in that instance it was a case of, playing not to lose. I mean, at the end of the game, now we can say that, because in hindsight and retrospect, it felt like you were playing to lose at that stage. But at that point, I'm like, nah, because the offense really wasn't moving the ball. I thought they were going to go for it, to be honest with you. I'm like, hey, this is crazy. Why are we punting? We got a good kicker. Kick it. Try it. And to your point, like, your defense is a strong defense. Like, if they got to defend 63 yards, they probably defend it. They do it. Yep. You know what I mean? But I also don't feel like he was coaching not to lose. Like, I can't get with that one. Like, I don't think that he was coaching not to lose. I think he was. What's that?
I said, why you say that?
Because I just don't see it. I think he was trying to make the smart move. In that instance, again, this is early in the game. Like, this is early in the game. Like, the offense had a whole lot of other opportunities to prove that they can move the ball and get things going. I didn't feel like any momentum actually shifted on that. I just thought, like, hey, okay, I thought it was a bad decision to punt it. I thought it was a bad decision to punt it because, like, well, goddamn, why don't you trust the kicker? That was the only thing that I was questioning. Like, the offense, I'm like, yeah, the offense having a hard time moving the ball. 4th and 2, we may not get it. Then the momentum even shifts more to Cleveland, and Cleveland's whole strength is having a good defense. Like, you turn around and give them momentum, even more momentum. That to my, I thought that would have been a bigger turning point if we had turned the ball over and gave the ball back to Cleveland right there. That's when I thought that would have been a bad deal. But I didn't feel like it was a momentum point. I didn't feel like it was a momentum change at that point.
I feel like it was. I think not to say a momentum change, but I think it sucked the morale out of the offense, because at that point, I think everybody on the offense really wanted to go for it, including Brady. And when you kind of just yank their collar and tell them get back off the field off 2 yards, when if you understand the game, like, hey, if we can just get 3 points out of this deal, for the simple fact it's been challenging to score and move the ball all game. If you can just get 3 points, get 3 points out of this deal when you at the 37, I think. Say for instance, if we're playing in a dome, no weather, no type of weather influence. Do you think they kick the field goal at that point, or do they punt?
Man, at this stage, I think they're kicking it.
Right. So even then, even if you say, well, we can't kick it because of the weather, like it's still a situation where you say, hey man, like we got to get something out this drive. We're on the 37. I just feel like punting was just, like you say, he was trying to make the smart call, and I'm not trying to drag him for that because, like I say, at the end of the day, he's the coach. At the end of the day, I think he was trying to be too smart. You was just being conservative, man. Like understanding the game situation, understanding it's a close game, understanding that there's only so many positions left we're gonna have. It's the opportunity to get us up 10 points, get us up 2 positions. You know, I think that was a time where you roll the dice for the simple fact if you do trust your defense and you don't get it, you trust your defense to still be out of there to stop them stop them at the 30 from the 37.
Yeah.
So if my thing is, if you have this mindset and this confidence about the defense, you should be able to take certain chances like that, especially at the 37 when you know that field position is probably going to be hard to come by for the rest of the game. You haven't been in the 30, you haven't been down there a lot of the game. So I think at that 4th and 2, you know, at that point, I've been more, inclined to call a timeout. Let's talk about it. Brady, what you want to do? Byron, what you want to do? All right, this is what we're gonna do. Instead of going out there try to draw them outside, come on, like really, we're that desperate. We can't get 2 yards, but we trying to make them give us five. Like, and it's not it's a kind of a disingenuous move, like because you can tell they loved about it. They didn't really know what they do. So like, let's go out there and try to draw them outside. I think that was just a wasted opportunity to really just play to win, like try to get it, play to win, keep the game in your control, take over the game. Like I think that's where the ball kind of dropped.
All right, cool. Before we pause for a second, I just want to follow up and ask these questions. We're talking about momentum and we're talking about in the heart of the team and showing heart and this and that. And again, at this point, there's so many of these questions that I'm coming up with, and that a lot of other folks are coming up with, especially in the media. At this point, it's like it's all hypothetical. Hypothetically, Bucks go for it. Offense goes for it. Been struggling all game. They only scored a touchdown once, first possession, and couldn't move the ball. We've seen what the Bucks basically hold their head down for long periods of time after a failed attempt, after a failed this or that. Same thing in this case. 4th and 2, we run it, we get hit behind the line, something dumb happens. Do we think you don't think that could linger into future possessions, kind of like what Byron Leftwich and Coach Bowles and Tom Brady have seen? Because we've seen this over and over and over. That's what happens. We get to a spot, we can make a play, don't make the play, and it seems to just linger on to the next several drives. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Like, and I have to take that into consideration when I'm thinking about Bowles' decision and so forth and stuff like that. Like that's the kind of stuff that I have to pay attention to and wonder. Because you've seen these results over and over again. Like none of this is new. So that's the kind of stuff that I come up with. And again, I'm not defending the call, whatever. I'm with you in the sense that, hey, we try to get some points. Situationally, I don't know if the field wasn't good for a 50-some yard field goal. I'm not sure what the case was, but I'm like, yeah, I just didn't see it as the team, as Coach Bowles basically tucking his tail like, hey, let's play conservative. I'm not sure what the deal was there.
Yeah, I think it was a mixture because he even admitted that, hey, the offense was having trouble moving the ball. So I mean, if you have this in your head and it's hard to move the ball, that's why I'm saying that if you somehow get yourself to the opponent's 37, you got to cash that in. You got to try. Like you got to try because on that drive, I think the big part why we got down the field was that defensive pass interference on Mike Evans.
On Evans, right?
So yeah, so they kind of flipped us to their side of the field. So we kind of moved up, kind of lugged out and kind of stalled out at the end. But at that point, like I mean, for me, man, like I say, we can critique this all day long. I just think for me at that point, especially if you got your quarterback and you got your offense out there, man, you got Tom Brady. At some point you got to say, okay, what do Tom want to do? Leftwich, what you want to do? Okay, you got to trust your guys. Like you can't yank their collar like that. And because like I say, at the end of the day, and this is I'm only quoting what Todd Bowles said in the presser Monday. He said he trusted his defense to that point. So if you trust your defense, man, you gotta be. If you trust your defense that much, you should be able to take chances with your offense because you trust your defense. Now I understand if you didn't trust your defense and you was like, well, if we don't get this, damn, they're gonna put us in a situation where they're gonna make it very easy for Cleveland to score. I get that. But he wasn't insinuating that. He insinuating like, well, no matter where they get the ball at, I trust my defense to do their job. And which they did. They got the ball back and they turned it. I think they turned it over on downs that next possession. Right. Yeah. So my thing is, I would rather for that to happen and us actually try to go for it and try to sustain the drive and get some type of points out of it versus just tucking our tail, punting the ball away because of the defense is doing so good. Like it's not a balance, and saying that well the offense isn't moving the ball enough is kind of like a cop out. Like I say, it shows that you don't trust your offense. But in that point time of the game, it's the fourth quarter. At some point, somebody has to score the points. Like if you just thinking you're gonna win this game 17-10 based on your defense, you're a fool. Law averages say you give that team enough chances with the ball, they're gonna score, and that's what happened. They scored at the end of the game, and I'm not even mad at the defense because the offense couldn't give them no house money to play with. So, man, that's how I feel. I mean, that as a coach, man, you can't coach scared. And I'm a firm believer that you can't coach scared. I don't care what's going on throughout the game. If you got basically this game on the line in 2 yards to game, like I'm pretty sure you got something in that playbook. They say we need 2 yards, we're gonna run a 5 yard play. Let's run a 5 yard slant concept, something. Run the ball. Give it to Rashad White and let him try. But for us to punt and then it don't work out, it nets 17 yards, and then the Browns get the ball and don't do nothing back. We never got a chance to get that close to the touchdown. No more they game.
We'll pause.
That's how it crumbled.
All right. We'll pause right there for a second, man. We'll come back to that, and we'll come back and we'll take a listen to a couple of the questions that Todd Bowles did after after the loss on Monday. We'll come back and we'll take a listen to some of those, and again we have to dive into this whole the timeout or not the timeout situation there. But yeah, we'll pause it for just a second, and we'll come right back to that. Just like that, we back. Hey. So dig this. So we were just talking about Todd Bowles and the whole playing conservative questions and so forth, everything that he got hit with. Basically, he got not ramsacked. Nobody sandbagged him on the press conference. That was a couple of stupid ass questions, but for the people they pressed him a lot. So real quick, we'll take a listen to a couple of these questions, man, and I want to get your take on a couple of these answers he gave. You already kind of touched on a few of them, but we'll take a listen to just a couple of these real quick.
37, unfortunately, too, instead of going for it. The analytics community says go for it at that point in time. What was your reasoning for punting and not trying to get some points, because field goal in that drive makes it a 2-score game and probably win the game.
Again, the defense was playing well. The offense wasn't playing it, moving the ball as well. So we tried to play the strength of our defense and get the ball back if we can back them up.
Do you trust your offense?
I do.
But you didn't trust them in that instance?
Well, I saw how the game was going. I trusted our defense to get the ball back, and I thought we can get the ball in good field position and still go down and get a score.
All right, so that was Todd Bowles on Monday answering a couple questions about the scenario that we were just speaking on here, the punt and trusting the defense. Hey, he said he got to play to your strength, and I mean, and every time I look at him, I'm like, well, damn, he was kind of right. He was kind of right. He got to play to strength. He kept putting the defense. He put the defense out there to keep shutting down the Browns, except for that the last touchdown in the fourth quarter. But when your offense isn't moving the ball, and your offense isn't moving the ball, your defense is playing well. And the defense was playing well with a bunch of injuries, which I was once I started seeing Winfield come on and off the field, I'm like, man, offense got to score soon to make me feel better about winning this game or pulling this game out, because our main guys are going down. Him and Edwards, Carlton Davis, with the slip. Even before he slipped, it seemed like he was limping a little bit. So I'm like, okay, we gotta do something. But again, you want to trust your defense. And you say, your point was, hey, like if you trust them at one part of the field, you got to be able to trust them in other scenarios as well. Like, is there not a statute of limitations on that though?
I mean, I don't. I mean, it's to what you said. If you trust them on one part of the field, you should be able to trust them on the other part. Like, I just don't understand what was the train of thought, because the thing is, this is what he said. Now he said, "Hey, we playing to the strength of the defense. I trusted our defense to get the ball back and get us in good field position to go back and score." Well, the thing was, you was already in good field position to score. So, say for instance, if you punt the ball and the punt goes how you want it, you kind of pin them, and you stop them and they punt the ball, we still got to drive the ball.
Yeah.
We still got to get back in at least field goal position. We was already there. So that's my point. Like, you talking as if we punt the ball, the offense can still get us back to that point, but he's forgetting the fact that we was already there in position to score. So my mind is, that's why you take the chance, because again, for the rest of the game, we never got back in their territory. So if you're saying the offense is to move the ball, well, that specific drive, we moved the ball. No matter if it was the defensive, the pass interference or whatever the case is, that specific drive, we was able to get into Browns territory. Saying that, hey, well, I'm gonna tell the defense to stop them and we'll get the ball back and go back and score, it's really hypocritical, because you was already in position to score. So if you're saying you trust your defense to get the ball back and put your offense in position to score again, why not go for it then? And if you don't get it, say your defense get the ball back so the offense can go back down and score, or at least try to score again. So it to me, man, like I say, I think he overthought it. I think he's skewed defensively minded, and I don't think Leftwich has a big enough voice or a big enough influence to tell him, no, we got to go for it here. I don't think there's nobody in his ear telling him, or kind of checking balancing him on certain decision making, because Brady is the player. The only person that can really speak for the offense as a coach is Leftwich. But Leftwich look up to Brady. So, when you have Bowles, he's going to be the executive decision maker. I just think it was a bad decision. And when he said in the presser what the thought process behind the season is, really you really just you make your point, but then you don't make your point. You kind of cancel yourself out, because you're expecting the same thing to happen in the position you already in. So how do you justify not going for 4th and 2, but then expect the defense to get the ball back and say have your offense to get back in their position? So it just didn't make a lot of sense to me, man. Like, it didn't. Like, and like, again, those are situations where you zap the morale out of an offense that is struggling, that maybe need to get their 4th and 2 to build their confidence, or maybe need to go for their 4th and 2 and sustain their drive and say, damn, yeah, we got it. We finally got some points. We finally drove the ball and got some points. When you do that, man, you just keep resetting it. Like, I just think he let his offense down, for better or for worse. Like, if they don't get it, okay, bring out your vaunted defense to make the stop, but don't cheat your offense of an opportunity to score when they're that close. Based on what you're saying is, we having a hard time moving the ball. Well, that's your opportunity to get something out of that drive. So
I ain't gonna lie to you, that what you just said and how you said it was like the first time I actually even thought about it that way, and it just cracked me the hell up. I'm like, well, damn, you're already at the spot where they can get on the field
something out of it.
Like,
have punt the ball and then still try to want the same situation. You already there. I get his 4th and 2, but in that situation he plays scared. Like, I get the defense is such this sword for you can use, but at the end of the day, man, you got an offense for a reason. The defense can't score the point. Now, I understand the defense getting takeaways, maybe a strip sack here or pick here. The defense ain't taking the ball away. So they're just doing good at stopping other teams, but we're not getting, bonus points from the defense. So you need to score points. Like you gotta damn near die or you gotta lose trying to score points. And I don't think we play like that. Like I'd rather lost the game knowing we went for it, trying to score points, than tuck our tail, punt, and then we never get back in their field, never get back on this side of the field. And it's what you say, where the offense ain't moving the ball. We had them right there. You got to go for it. So that's why I think a lot of the fans are irritated because we'll rather lose if we trying, but we just losing like we just expecting the other team to not do good. Like we got to play, we got to show up and play. You can't tell me you don't have a play in that playbook that you can't get. If we need 2 yards, run a 5-yard play. You ain't got to throw it down the field. Run something. Give it to Julio. Do something. You got Julio and Mike Evans, K. Iden. Like, do something. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I think a lot of fans just did. We want that, man. Like, it's criminal that we average 17, 18 points a game.
It's really goddamn ridiculous is what it is.
So, in those situations, man, like, if we're going to lose, I'd rather lose trying, not just trying to wait to the end of the game. Just hopefully we can hold them to less points than us for 60 minutes. You got to go for it, man.
Now, here's my only here's again, like you opened my eyes on something on what you said before. Now, here's my only other pushback on that. The fact that we punted the ball and put them in a dangerous position, which, I'm sorry, was supposed to. So terrible. It was trying to get them in a terrible position. The only thing I can even think of that basically makes that make more sense to me from Bosa's standpoint is the fact that we were dealing with so many injuries in the secondary. Like I was talking about going in and out with our best, not our best corner, but our safeties, our 2 best safeties. Actually, all 3, because Keanu Neal was. Am I crazy? Did Keanu Neal get hurt?
I don't think Neal got hurt, but Winfield got hurt. I think Mike Edwards got nicked up. I know both cornerbacks got hurt. Dean got hurt for a couple plays. Carden Down, he bust his nose up. But at one point, who was out there was Zion McCullough.
So, you know what? When fast forwarding in the game, when Cooper caught that pass way down, when Whatchamacallit slipped and Cooper got free, that's when both of those, that's when McCullum and I forget the other cat name, they ran into each other. Yeah. Looked like the 3 Stooges, minus 1. Yeah.
And D. Delaney, he was in for somebody. So, D. Delaney playing safety, so who he was replacing. So,
I mean, that's one of the only things I was thinking at the time. Not thinking at the time, but I thought about it like later. I'm like, well, damn, we didn't have. Maybe you had to, not try to give Cleveland yards, or whatever, or push them back as far as we can because we were dealing with those issues. You know what I mean? Right. So I had to entertain that as well. But now, again, like I said earlier, man, you made a point of it, and I didn't think about it until you said it. I at least didn't think about it in the way that you thought about it. Like, well, hell, we already basically where the hell we need to be to score points. We try. Like,
it didn't make sense because in one breath you saying the offense ain't moving the ball, but you want to punt the ball for the defense to stop them to get the same offense you're saying not moving the ball. To move the ball to get back in scoring position. Like, it just didn't make any sense. And when he said that would piss everybody off because the decision itself pissed everybody off. But then when you explain it the next day, that's when I was like, God damn, Bose. Like, you ain't making this, it's hard to defend it. It's hard to defend the coaching and the coaching decisions. And it's hard to defend it when that's your reason. Like, because at that point, we lose the game because of we're not playing to win. You're not playing to win the game. I guarantee you, if it was the Browns, if they was up 17-10, the Browns would have went for it because they want to make sure they want to put the game out of reach.
I think a few more than a few teams do it, especially when they're playing against the Bucs because they're underdogs and they, those cats got that underdog mentality and shit like that.
You just play to win. Well, you just play to win. You play to score. On offense, you play to score points. You don't just play offense to hold the ball and play keep away. You play to score points. If you're in a position to score points or you're close enough, because it would have been a 55-yard field goal. His max was 54. So let's say we gained 5 to 6 yards on their conversion. We got 3 in our pocket. So you got to, man. Like, I think those are the plays, or those are the coaching decisions that just that it's like tears our Achilles heel for the offense, because again, subliminally you just told him you didn't trust him, and you don't tell me Tom Brady wasn't pissed, because he showed he was pissed after he had to go out there and try to draw him offline and it didn't work. He was pissed. He was cussing on the way to the sideline. He's mad at the decision to not go for it. So if we talking about leadership, back to your first question, that's leadership saying we need to go for it. He's not going to overrule Bowles. He's not going to overrule Leftwich, because Brady's going to be the player. So in that time, those are situations, like, to your credit, that's when you just want Brady to say, make the call the play, go for it, Brady. We're gonna live it down. This is why we got you here, for situations like this. So you got to live and die with it, man. Like, you can't tell me a little draw play or a drag to Julio or somebody that can catch and run couldn't get 2 yards. I would have just been okay with just running the ball with Rashad White. Let's just fucking try it. Let's line up and try it. You got to go for it. So in that sense, man, I can go on and on, but that for me, man, I think those are the points in the game where you rob your team. You just rob your team.
Yeah. And that's an interesting point. Again, that's the same way a lot of cats felt. A lot of cats felt the same way, that that there's that was a big game changer, that was a big momentum shift, and and to your thing about basically castrating the offense to a point. I mean, I want to say I get that. I get it. I don't think I 100% agree. I hated that. I mean, I don't know how. I don't even know how. Again, going back, listening to it, and taking your perspective into consideration, about not going for the, at least going for the field goal, going for the punt. I'm not sure what the field conditions were, why we couldn't go for a field goal or what have you.
Like I said, if we went for the field goal and it missed, I would not have felt as bad as just really punting. Like, if we kicked the field goal, because 50-50 chance. Who to say he couldn't make the field goal? So say if we kicked it against the odds and he make it, we up 10 points. We virtually will seal the game. If we kicked it and he didn't miss, well, having the weather, the field, okay, but we at least fucking tried, And that's, I think, for fans, even for me, man, it's just like, come on. And then when you give us when you come tell us the reason why or why you didn't, everybody just really just calling BS, and it's really just, okay, if that's how you coach, then man, you castrating your team, you castrating your offense. Like, if there was trust me, if there was Bruce Arians on the sideline, Bruce Arians would have went for it. Bruce risking no biscuit would have been the fit. Bruce Arians would have said, line up and go for it. So you talk about a head coach, and you talk about the identity a team takes on after a head coach, and it's obvious. Byron, I mean not Byron, but Bowles is very conservative, very soft spoken, very dry, just hey, whatever, emotionless. But in those situations, man, I think as a head coach, if you have Tom Brady at your disposal, just off principle, certain offensive decisions need to be up to Tom Brady and Byron Leftwich. More importantly, Tom Brady.
Now, see, that is a question, and that's a scenario that I've talked about for a minute. We're talking about the hierarchy of what's going on the Bucs sideline.
Yeah.
Now, because you and I joked about this one time before about Tom Brady having the ability to push goddamn Bruce Arians' ass all the way up to not even on the sideline, push that one to a front office. So. Yeah. Would a cat who is allegedly, supposedly, maybe, possibly have that kind of power why the hell would he not be one of those guys to be like, hey, like, we got to go for it. Hey, we got to do this. Hey, we got to do that. We got to. Like, why would he not be able to do that?
I guarantee you, if they like, to my point earlier, if you at that crossroad, 4-2, and like it was a lull between getting the play in, what they want to do, was they gonna bring the field goal, it was a little lull, like nobody didn't know what to do. And then
which was stupid as hell, by the way.
When the camera pans to Byron Leftwich, he was like talking to him, and he was kind of waving him back on the field. I think a timeout should have been called. Let's bring it in. Let's talk about it. Let's get on one page about what we're gonna do. If we're gonna go for it, let's dial up the play because that situation right there can really it really can give you the control of the game. If you able to sustain that drive and at the bare minimum get 3 out, you give your defense house money to play with. So if they do end up bending at the end of the game and giving Njoku that touchdown, you still got 3 in your pocket. I think a timeout should have been called. Let's talk about it. Let's figure it out. What we want to do. We're gonna go for it. We're gonna go for it. Tom, what do you want to do? I guarantee you, Tom would have been 1,000% saying, "Let's go for it. Let's do this certain play." Like, and I think that's what the confusion was. And I think it was just like, well, just try to draw them outside, because they ain't have a play draw, they ain't have a play call. So I don't think it wasn't a situation where they didn't want to go for it. I just think they just didn't know what to do. And it was like you say, between that whole little last play and the play leading up to it, I don't know where if Ty Bowles took too long to make the decision to go for it, or by that time it wasn't enough time to find a play they couldn't get the personnel in. Use a timeout, like in cloudy situations like that, especially in situations of football. Timeouts are meant for that too. You know, get your team, get your guys in order. Let's figure this out. So, man, look, I'm telling you, if it was to your point, why can't Tom Brady do it? I think Tom Brady wanted to do it. I think, again, Bowles castrated the offense in this situation. He made the decision to say, no, we're not going for it. Let's just try to draw them outside, which, again, is a conservative type of coaching mindset. Like, you want them to give you 5, but you can't trust your offense to get you 2. You know.
I mean, I agree with damn pretty much 90% of what the hell you saying. 90% of it got to be at least 90%. And all I keep thinking about is Todd Bowles has seen this shit before. 3 years, man. He didn't seen this shit before. He didn't seen this offense get down on themselves when they don't do well, and then stay there.
He also seen this offense take chances.
Yeah.
What we was doing the first year when we was throwing out on deep bombs to Scotty Miller, we were taking them right before halftime shots down the field, and they was paying off more times than not.
Yeah.
He's seen his offense take chances. He's seen his offense run up 30 points per game. No matter what the defense was doing, the offense was good for 25 to 30 points per game. Now, if we playing the Chiefs and they score 40, we might be assed out. But for a given game, we can bank on 24 points or more.
All right, so, let's hold up and run that one back for a second, because we saw that offense, our offense, do that against some really, really not good defenses in the past 2 seasons. When it came time for us, again, this has been my argument, and you and I have agreed on this. Mm-hmm. This has been my argument. We've done this against some really bad teams, but as soon as we play a team with a decent defense, our offense has more times than not looked not just potent. They've looked not just impotent. They look damn near. They looked almost completely incapable for at least 3/4 of a game. And again, in this game, we weren't throwing a whole lot of deep shots, even though I thought we should have taken more shots at Mike Evans. But again, he's seen it. He's seen us play well against bad teams. But this season more than anything else, because we got so much bad film on tape. We have so much bad game footage for 3 damn seasons. Even the midgets that we used to dunk on, them motherfuckers are blocking every damn thing we can do. We done lost games to teams that ain't have no secondary.
Right.
You know what I mean? So he's seen this offense at highs, and we also seen them at extreme fucking lows, and that's where we are this season. Right. We are losing the teams we had no goddamn business losing. Teams, again, who don't have anything to combat our strongest, our biggest strengths. We are losing a team to. We should ever lose to a damn team who don't have a good secondary ever.
Yeah.
I don't give a goddamn if a team is the #1 running defense in the league. Okay, you can have that. There's no team that should be stopping us passing. I don't give a damn if we're missing Alan Marpet and Jensen. Like Haynes is not a liability. Nick Leverett has been in there playing his ass off. Yeah. We haven't been in trouble on the offensive line since Nick Leverett stepped in.
Yeah. I mean, I think I agree with that. I think a combination of that is Now I'm not gonna compare Nick Levy to Adam Arpet. I'm definitely not comparing Haynes to Jensen. They don't even belong in the same conversation as those guys. You know, there's clearly a talent a talent gap between those two players and the other two players. But I think as a result, I think this is why Tom Brady is so efficient with the ball because he's not taking those shots. Like I said, I looked it up. We were like fifth worst in the league in yards per pass. Like we're not earning it out. We're doing a lot of check downs. We're doing a lot of passes that just get the ball out of Brady's hand. Brady's getting rid of the ball like a whole second faster than he ever did with us. So I think he keeps this into account, and I think that alleviates a lot of what could go wrong when he's passing the ball far as sacks or pressures or anything like that. I think he's helping the offensive line, especially the interior, by doing it.
Yeah.
On the other side of it is, I think this is where I bring Byron Leftwich to the front of the congregation because you have it's I think it comes down to okay, now if you have these guys like the Julio Jones, the Mike Evans, the K. Otters, even the Cam Brace, the Scotty Millers, you got the Speeders and Scotty Miller and Darden. Why can't we scheme certain guys open so we can use whatever ability they have? K. Otten is coming up, and I'm like, damn, I like K. Otten, but we don't really use him. We didn't really use him last night. I think he got in, but he didn't get in the targets. But when you have species like Darden and Scotty, and we don't even take deep shots with them. When we do, it don't really work out. But when you have a Julio Jones that can run, is really excellent after the catch. Like he can run after the catch. Mike Evans can't really do it yet. Mike Evans bad after the catch. But I think that's where a lot of fans and a lot of fan base and a lot of other people are challenging Byron Leftwich to say, okay, if you have these tools, these players, what kind of ingenuity in your play calling or play design to say, hey, I know we can get this player the ball at this point in the field, no matter if they running man or zone, this player can get up and get the ball there. So yeah. I'm not saying that, he doesn't do it because that goes back to my original point about execution. Because the thing is, it's plays that we leave on the field each game. I'm like, well, if that play worked,
if it worked, right?
If Brady, like, and this to Brady's point, like the last game, Brady missed Godwin up the scene. Brady overthrew Mike Evans 1 or 2 times. Like these things happen, and from the macro standpoint, those were good plays. Those were plays that exploited their defense. We couldn't connect. On run plays where the blocking just break down. It was no blocking. I hate that because we asked our receivers to block linebackers, and I don't think that's a good formula for success.
Nope.
You ask receivers to crack back linebackers, and these guys, that's another point. The thing is, man, I think that's where the challenge comes in. There when you have certain guys, and you be like, okay, well, we have these guys. Why is the play calling, archaic and sometimes like it's a vertical offense. So it's long developing routes, but it's kind of the same concept. Like you either trying to get somebody up the seam behind the linebackers in front of the safeties, or you want to get this person. You play. The offense is built on hitting receivers in certain spots. It's not one-on-one. Like to your point, it's not enough tech because we ain't got the talent. When you had AB gonna win that battle. AB gonna win this one-on-one regardless. Like that's when you have the talent to cover up the tech, right? Mike Evans don't really get a lot of separation. Julio Jones, he's not the Julio Jones of the prime, but I think he still has something in the tank. I think he's still good to me. Regardless of what a lot of people say, I just think he had to get healthy.
Hey man,
Russell Gage has been out, so I think we get those guys in. Who knows? But
yeah, it's a deal about. Again, we've mentioned this several times, whether it's on, via social media or, on the podcast, what have you. Like, it's all about what you do with what you got. It's all about what you do with what you have. And we have players. We just don't have anybody who's putting them to use, like who's not making defenses do anything other than line up with them. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that's a big problem. And it's been his way since Byron Leftwich, and I always have to put the tandem together, Byron Leftwich and Bruce Arians. I have to put them together because they're the one. Arians was the one who sold his package. They basically did just put talent out on the field and let him go.
Yeah, I think, and ask yourself this: have you seen any plays that Gronk used to do that we asked Cam Brady and K.I. to do this year? Like certain plays, like Gronk was automated. Like you knew, like you down there can bet this ball can probably go to Gronk. I wonder if those just plays, schemes, the plays are designed, or was that just Tom Brady and Gronk playing backyard football? You know what I mean?
Okay, so I two things on that. I'll start with the first and the most important part of it: the fact that neither Cade Otton nor Cam Brate, especially Cam Brate, can block worth a damn to throw defenses off.
Yeah.
So when they were in, they're in, and it's like, yeah, they're not blocking on no pass play. Like they they going out for a route. They're not a decoy. Not good at that.
Yeah.
Secondly, yeah, those plays when Brady was going to Gronk all those times. Think about this, man. Bruce Arians and Leftwich went throwing those plays to damn O.J. Howard.
Yeah.
O.J. Howard can get a feel, and he was giving defenses hell before Leftwich and Arians came into Tampa.
Right.
I mean, I know he had his injuries, but he was capable of blocking and getting down the field, and they didn't use him until Gronkowski came in there. We know what Arians' whole philosophy was on our offense. He was basically telling us, well, going back to his Cardinal days, they paid their wide receivers way too much to be throwing the ball to tight ends. Mm-hmm. And he damn sure been using the tight ends in Arizona. I know he didn't have the talent to do so, but he damn sure had some talent in Tampa when he got there with Howard and Brate, who had been, collectively both, putting up numbers together,
Right.
So I think I think a lot of it had to do with Brady, picking his favorite, making his name, playing backyard football, like you put it. But no, we ain't seen a damn thing anywhere close to the effect of getting those plays or getting, even just getting in the middle of the field with your tight ends.
Yeah.
We ain't seen none of that. We ain't seen a whole lot of, two tight end sets where you got both of the guys as a target. Like, nah, they're in there as extra left and right tackles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, again, man, we got to be able to scheme. We got to be able to do something other than line up and play. We got to be able to scheme. Like, you would look at these and go back and look at the running game. You mentioned the running game. We go back and look at our running game where basically a lot of our runs, our tackles, our offensive line, they straight up. They straight up squared up to that line. Like, there's not a whole lot of pulling.
Push.
Left or none.
Yeah.
We don't, I say none, that's almost hyperbolic. You may see some every now and again, but you don't see a lot of heavy usage of our guards, getting out and blocking.
And getting to the second level and
getting to the second level, guys.
It's just straight up,
Straight up.
hey, it's up to the running back to pick the right hole and bulldoze through.
Right.
It ain't that. But that comes down to what I was saying about the offensive line and just blocking and execution. Like, I know I run game at the best, and guys, the staff will tell you, hey, we'll pass first offense. But in the end of the day, like, when you talk about that interior, the left guard, center, right guard, the only person we can bank on is of value is Shea Mason, because obviously who he was at the Patriots, and we traded for him. But you talk about even when Lou Getty was in there or Robert Hainsey, like, there wasn't nothing going on. Donovan Smith, he's more of a pass blocker. He's not really the big mauler or anything like that. Like, so one would say, okay, let's run to the right side. But if the defense stack on the right side, that's why we probably run to the left so much. So you just don't have the offensive line to pull it off. And then we're not running anything where you have Keith playing fullback on certain run plays. We single back. So it's really just up to the offensive line to make the hole, and you don't have anybody that's even leading you to the second level out the backfield in a fullback. So again, that's where certain situations like that, where you can say blocking and execution, but again, if that's when that's why I say that's when you bring Byron to the front. Like, okay, bro, if you know these things, and it's what, week 13, 12, 13, if you know these things, you knew these going into the season about your offensive line.
Right.
There should have been a lot more ingenuity into how you can get certain plays to work. Not just saying, hey, at the end of the day, you just got to line up and be better than your man. Some players might need a little help on some misdirection. Some players might need help, doing more play action. You might have to do more things to create misdirection to keep the defense off their square. And I know a lot of people say just do play action. I'm one of the people that believe, hey, yeah, you can do play action, and yeah, it may work, but I'm one of the guys that's cut from the cloth that the play action. If you can run the ball well, the play action is just paramount. You can do what you want to do with the offense. If you got a run game, you run play action. So for me, yeah, you can run play action, but I mean, I've never seen a team run 65 play actions in a game. So you're not going to do play action every game. You're not going to do play action from 30 to 20. You're not going to do play action from, you're not just going to, it become window dressing. And like I was telling one guy, I said, well, if you told the defense the team is not going to run the ball, none, like they're not going to run the ball, and the offense come out and do play action, they're not gonna bite. They either just gonna blitz you while you're doing all the window dressing, or they're just not gonna bite. So I get the concept of this split second of getting guys off their square. I just think from Byron Leftwich, coach, from the coaching standpoint of it, like, yeah, you can do it, but should we do it more? Absolutely. I think we should definitely do play action more, because at the end of the day, it do give that split second. It just it grabs their defense for that little split second to scheme a guy open. Maybe get the ball to the tight end behind the linebackers. If you get the tight end, they can break off the line real quick and catch that linebacker looking inside and kind of get them off point. But at the same time, we got to have the action too. The action is running the ball. We got to be able to run the ball. You got to be able to give the defense something to worry about. The defense ain't worried about running the ball or win a situation where they know we're not going to run the ball. It becomes window dressing at that point. So that's my argument. It's just what it is.
I mean, and it kind of goes, it kind of goes, I say, both ways, because the fact of the matter is, like, the Bucs would run the ball. We would run the ball in situations that didn't make any damn sense. And because we would do it, it would teams would sometimes fall for it. And here's one of the reasons. Here's one of the cases. This is kind of screwed up, kind of funny. When we won that game in Tampa against the Rams.
Yeah.
Faked it, running the goddamn. they bit the hell out of that, man. I was like, what the fuck? I was so happy they did. I'm like, I don't know what the hell they were looking at. But again, when you dumb and people expect you to do dumb shit, you can pull off some miraculous things, man. Yeah. And that happened. And with Cole Keith in the fullback role.
Yeah,
catching that pass. No, was he? Yeah, I think he was. He was in the full. Yeah, he was. He was lined up in the backfield.
And like I say, with the play action, man, it just kind of squared it out. Like, I know a lot of people that, and like I said, I agree you should run play action. And I also agree that if you're a passing team, you should do more play action. So if you're a pass for offense, yes, you should do more play action, because it still gives you that little half a second or whatnot at the bottom. But on the flip side of it, I just believe you got to have some type of run game to give them something to respect. And I think a lot of times when we actually run the ball, it's just to keep the defense honest on, like, hey, we will run this ball. I don't know how much we're going to get, but we're going to run the fucking ball. So, it keeps them, at bay sometimes. But at the point, when we do run the ball, the formation is so fucking obvious. So, that's when the play action comes into effect. But we don't use it enough. So that's the whole conundrum. You know what I mean? Like, but that comes down to play calling, play sequencing, like, understanding the field and the flow of the game, like, in certain rundown situations, do the play action. Certain pass situations, run a draw. Certain run situations, run the ball. Like, it just, you have to not be so predictable. But at the same time, when it comes down to play action, I'm just cut from that cloth that, man, if you don't have a run game, you're not running the ball, at some point, not to say it still won't work. I just feel like, man, just fuck that. Just drop back and throw the damn ball. You know what I mean? Like, because if the defense is in dime package for one linebacker, you're not worrying about getting him off his square, because he's in coverage. So at that point, you ain't got to fake running the ball. Hand the ball off.
Hand the ball, right.
The box is light. So, you know what I mean? So but once again, that comes back to the scheme and the play calling and how are they calling the plays and the sequencing of the plays. So it just, man, it just, I don't know, man. Like, it's just not making a good case, because if Byron Leftwich has any aspiration of being anything other than the offensive coordinator in this league, he can't fuck this up. Like, because every team gonna be like, so you telling me you had Tom Brady, Mike Evans, Julio Jones, Russell Gage, Chris God, you had all these guys, and all you was able to muscle with 18 points a game?
Hey,
really?
Brett, let me tell you,
record? Really?
With a losing, and I swear to you, like, I go back to the game in Seattle, and I know a couple of cats got on me on this. I said that, and And man, I'm just gonna flat out tell you, I've been saying this for 2 seasons. I didn't give a damn if Byron Leftwich came back this season. I had seen enough. I had seen enough the past 2 seasons. I knew in my mind, I'm like, yeah, this ain't working. This ain't gonna. And again, I ain't wishing a bad luck, nothing like that. You know, but the evidence is the evidence, and I can't fight the evidence. Do I see it?
And the thing is, it's been going on the whole time.
Like, the whole damn time.
The whole time, it's just we had talent.
We had
Antonio Browns and the Robert Gronkowski. We had the Grumps and the ABs, and with the collection of Creek Gall and Mike Evans, and you had this sturdy offensive line with a young and hungry defense that was able to mash. Because if you watch the games, you still see the ineptitudes in the offense. You still see the offense throwing the ball in their play.
The exact same thing.
It was just the no risk it, no biscuit factor that was putting the points on the board. You know, we were taking those second quarter before halftime shots. We were taking those, making those big plays down the field. We was pushing the ball. You know, we were forcing Tom Brady to throw the ball. There's a reason why Tom Brady only got 2 interceptions, because he's not pushing the ball. You know, Tom Brady was throwing a lot of interceptions, but we was pushing the ball, but we was also getting something out of it as well. So I think collectively as an offense, you watch the games, it's showing you what we're doing. It just, you know, it's getting to the point where I think it's a we. I think Tom Brady want to do certain things, but I think Tom Brady is not going to overrule Byron Leftwich and Todd Bowles to a certain fault. You can see the frustration in him every game. Like on certain calls, he look over to the sideline. What are we doing? You watch the game, you see him look at the sideline and just be looking at them like, what are we doing? Like, let's go for it. Like on certain 4th downs, he's walking up, like trying to get up to the line of scrimmage. He ain't walking to the sideline. He's like, hey, you know, I'm walking up to the line of scrimmage. Let's go for this. Like, you know, they pull him off the field. So I think the frustrating part of all this is that, you know, in hindsight, if Tom Brady did push Bruce Arians off the offense, upstairs, now he doesn't have a guy that's offensively got nuts to actually take chances. Like, in a way, Bruce Arians really was feeding Tom Brady's chances to go forward and be aggressive. With Byron Leftwich, he's not going to do that, and Todd Bowles definitely not going to do it because he's not even offensively, you know, have the offensive acumen to understand like certain situations. He's just thinking about his defense. So it's a bad recipe between coaching and the offense right now. So.
Yeah. Now, and again, we earlier we were talking about the hierarchy of, you know, who has what, and one other question that came in that's been going around and what have it that I've been pushing back on was, well, why doesn't Bowles just fire Leftwich? Like, full clip. Byron Leftwich ain't Bowles' guy. He didn't hire him. The guy who hired Bowles hired Leftwich, and he's still in the ear of the GM across the hall.
Yeah. Bowles can't fire Leftwich. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's not gonna, you know, I don't think Jason Light and they're not gonna let this happen. They're not gonna.
End of the season, there's no way I see Bowles advocating or bringing back Leftwich. I don't see it.
I think they connected at the hip. I think if you get 1-1, you're gonna have to get rid of the other. I don't think you keep Bowles and get rid of Leftwich. I think if the bottom fall out of this thing with the roster we have, with the aspirations we have, and Tom Brady say, you know what, fuck it, I'm out, and certain players like the 1-year mercenaries be like, I'm out. You know, you're not gonna get rid of it. You remember how long it took for Dirk Cutter to fire Mike Shell? When it was obvious.
It was only weeks. It was a week 5.
Nah, he fired Mike. He went there early, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was week 5 before Chicago, week 6.
But it was asking for it all last season. I think we asked for it last season, all through the offseason, he went back. But yeah, I think that was a different situation. I just think with the whole group, you know, Bruce Arians and the relationship between Arians have with Light, and this being Bruce Arians' hand-picked staff, I think everybody on this staff is attached to the hip. You know what I mean?
I don't, because would you blow up everything that's good on this? Basically, what won you a Super Bowl? Do you blow all that up by making Todd Bowles get out the door while keeping the one constant, which is absolutely terrible offense, by keeping that. And the only thing that's, I believe, is keeping Leftwich in the building is the comfort of Tom Brady. Because we don't want Tom Brady having to learn something new, do something new, learn a new system, learn a new play caller, trust a new play caller, nothing like that. Probably would have been able to keep somebody at the beginning of the season if he came into the season with that new person who was already in the building. Mm-hmm. But I think when Brady's gone, which could be at the end of the season, I hate even skipping this far ahead. I think when he's gone, then Leftwich is gone. And when Leftwich is gone from Tampa, Leftwich is not coaching in the NFL. Mm-hmm. That's my thought.
All right, so let me ask you this. Are you okay with Bowles being the head coach?
100% good with Todd Bowles giving the head coach. Give me another OC.
Okay, cool. That was gonna be the question, because if we're like, okay, we don't want Bowles to be the head coach, I don't see Bowles being demoted back to DC. So this is gonna be Todd Bowles' team. Okay. Gotcha.
Keep this Todd Bowles' team. Keep this defense to defense. Keep this team's identity, or reinstate the fact that this team's identity is a fucking defense and none of this other shit.
Okay, so this is the scenario I see that's going to happen, because I don't think nobody's going to fire nobody. I think even if Brady leaves or he doesn't, I think the way they're going to do it is Byron going to have to take a job somewhere else. Maybe Byron going to take another OC job somewhere. I don't think he'd be a head coach. He might land somewhere else. That wouldn't make sense, because why would you take a lateral move? So, man, I don't know, Robert, man. Like, I think in the end, it's still Bruce Arians' call on who leaves and who goes. And Bruce Arians ain't selling out Byron Leftwich. Byron Leftwich has been brought in, hold his hand tight into this position, like, all since Byron Leftwich coaching career. Byron Leftwich coaching career, it's been Bruce Arians kind of just ushering him in these positions. So I don't think Bruce Arians is going to turn his back on Leftwich. I think, if you look at Bruce Arians' history of it, he always defend Leftwich and say Brady ain't playing good. So
exactly.
I wouldn't be remiss if he say, well, fuck it, we don't need, well, Brady, goddamn it, you ain't doing what we need to do. We need another quarterback here, or something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if Bruce Arians bails on the quarterback other than Byron Leftwich. So I just don't see it. I don't think Todd Bowles is going to jettison Byron Leftwich and fire. I don't think he's gonna do it, man. I just don't, because if he fire him, who's gonna call it? Who's gonna be the OC? Do he smoke somebody from the staff, or he bring in somebody else?
Here's the deal: bring in somebody else, because again, I think the only reason why Byron Leftwich is there is for the comfort of Tom Brady. Tom Brady goes out, Blaine Gabbert ain't gonna be no damn. Blaine Gabbert ain't sticking around, so there's no continuity to be had, like zero. None of these other cats have gotten in the game have had anything going for them. End of the season, again, we're skipping far ahead. End of the season, I cannot see with what Byron Leftwich has done with what he has for 3 seasons. There's nothing that says, hey, this cat is a solid OC, a good OC, a competent OC. Like, he is literally riding the wave of Tom Brady, who is riding the wave, or has ridden the wave of the Bucs defense for all these wins. We don't have let me go on and let me set some real, this is going to piss some folks off, but I'm good with it. When you look at the quality wins this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team has over the last 3 seasons with Tom Brady, we literally have, I say literally, I counted them up, but I might be off. I think it's 5 quality wins when they weren't completely predicated on the defense. When I say quality wins, I'm talking about the big primetime games against teams that actually have a defense, teams that actually have teams that are actually reputable, good teams. We got like 5 wins where it wasn't basically the defense have literally had to carry the offense. Like, there's nothing on film that says, hey, this is a good OC with a good scheme. Like, we take half the talent, not even half the talent. You take 2 or 3 pieces away from the talent on the roster, and this offense looks incompetent far too often. So I don't see anybody banking on a Byron Leftwich based on what he's put on film. Like, I can't see it. Not even Todd Bowles. Like, Todd Bowles is probably going to ask. He's going to ask for gonna ask to his own guys. You know what I mean? Like I just can't see him putting his second opportunity to be a head coach. I can't see him banking with Byron Leftwich after what he's seen. And again, the question is like, well, why can't he just fire him? Like, he can't. You know how many stories we've heard or seen from black coaches who finally get their break, even especially this first break, but this is the second one. And the probably saying they happen to him in the Jets, and then he don't have a call on what he, on his folks. He don't have a call on all his staff. I mean, that's something folks don't want to talk about or think about, but damn it, this is habitual. This is something that's always been happening where, and we ain't even got to look at, the black coaches. Look at Dirk Cutter. Look at Dirk Cutter and how Dirk Cutter ended up, being stuck with a quarterback he probably didn't want.
Yeah.
A quarterback who put on film all this bad film, but we had a GM who was dead set on making him the franchise guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, man. We talked about Mike Smith a while ago. I think Dirk Cutter was made to fire Mike Smith because somebody had to take a fall. Somebody, like all this public perception, somebody had to take a fall.
Yeah, I agree. I believe that's what happened. I think it was just that's when the excuse making was going on about why we wasn't winning, and everybody was saying, well, the defense isn't holding the teams, or the defense is playing better. Defense, like the narrative wasn't addressing the elephant in the room. It was addressing the scapegoat.
The scapegoat, right?
And the defense was the scapegoat for a notoriously turnover-prone quarterback, and that was just really BS. So it was. And to my philosophy, once you start firing, assistant coaches, then the head coach is next. So it was one of those situations where hey, we can't get rid of color now. Like we need a defense that's going to come out there and play. When the essence was, I just think Mike Smith was just frustrated with the offense turning the ball over so much. It's hard to coach guys and keep guys up when you have this issue on the offense, and you saying, okay, all the onus on us to hold these teams to a certain amount of points each year when the quarterback gives them 2 to 3 extra chances a game. Like, come on. So I think go just stand on top. I think about this Bowles Leftwich thing, man, and we both got our points. I think it'll be a bold move if a bold move, no pun intended, if Bowles said, hey, I can't. I need somebody else in here, man, to kind of run this offense. Whether Brady is here or not, and like I said, we're getting far ahead. I think we just have to wait and see, man. I think we have to wait and see. I think we'll just have to wait and see, man. We don't want to jump far ahead and start getting into speculations, man, because like I say, you never know, man, because I'm still on the point where we could probably still turn this thing around and, hey, all is forgotten. So, like, you know, man, we'll figure something out. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, man.
Yeah, we're gonna get back to this game. I know we strayed off pretty far from the game here. We'll go back and let's take we'll pause for a couple seconds, man. We're gonna go back and we're gonna take a look at a couple questions that are going back to Todd Bowles in his press conference and some of these other things he got asked. So we'll jump back into it, man. And one second, real quick, we can go queue up this question here. We talked about the third downs. How everybody kind of made a narrative out of Todd Bowles and what he said and basically took his whole, having to be better on third down thing. All right, here we go. So back at it, talking about Todd Bowles and his press conference. Here is one of the other main questions that Todd Bowles was asked, and we'll talk about the whole we'll talk about the blowback that he got from the answer that he gave on this questionnaire. This is Todd Bowles from Monday after the loss to the Cleveland Browns, 23-17 in OT.
No, the defense has to get off the field no matter what. I think offensively, we weren't very good on third down at all, and we got the third down. We had a bunch of third and longs, at least 7+. There had to be 9 or 10 of them, and we probably were over when we did those things. And when we had third and short, at least we were almost 50-50. It might have been 2 or 5 at that point, but if you can't make third downs, you can't stay on the field. But the defense's job is to stop them no matter what. We don't make excuses trying to say the offense did this and the defense did that. We had plays on special teams, offense and defense, to win that ball game, and we didn't do it.
So that was Todd Bowles on Monday, man. Basically saying that, hey, we got to be better on third down. I think the Bucs were 4 out of 15 on third downs. Somehow, some way, this completely logical and factual point turned into, well, damn it, Todd Bowles again going to a conservative deal, like he's playing for third downs. I don't know how the hell anybody listened to what I just heard, man, and came up with that. They came up with that silly shit like that. That didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
They're like, you can win on you should get first down on first down to second down, right? Like, I don't know how folks got to that point, man, but it made me laugh, and it's something else where people have taken that excerpt and made it to a complete different narrative that I can't deal with. But what do you take? What is your take on that? Did you hear something different? Am I crazy? Am I the only one who heard him say, "Hey, we got to bet on third downs"?
Nah, man, it's exactly what he was saying, man. He was saying, hey, when we get to the third downs, we have to be better. We got to convert. It's not that we going through first and second down to get the third down. It's just if we do get the third down, we have to convert. So people just take it and try to smear campaign it and shame them and just it's not coming. That type of narrative is not coming from a good place. They're just trying to screw the words up and make them look bad, or try to insult his intelligence or whatever the case is. But I think anyone that's looking at this, other than what the words are coming out of his mouth, are just not coming from a good place, man. They just not. They just mad. So you can twist anything. You're gonna twist a person's words to make them sound and look like whatever they want to sound and look like. So no, he just stating the obvious. Hey man, we got to be better on third down. We got to try to prevent being in third and long. Even if we are in third and long, we have to convert. I mean, those are the telltale signs to those drives. We can't sustain drives if we can't convert third downs. If we're not getting the first down, first and second down or whatever, just be able to keep the ball moving, keep the chains moving. When it comes down to third down, we just have to be better. We have to convert. We have to convert. So it's not saying that hey, we got 3 tries to get a first down. He's saying when we do
Right.
get the third down, if we do get the third down, based on what we did on the first and second down, we have to convert on these third down to keep the drive moving. Because in essence, that's the problem. That's why we have bottom low time possession after league. That's why we don't score no points because the offense just doesn't stay on the field. So that's it in a nutshell. Like if you want to bring all the problems of offensively, whether it's injuries, execution, blocking, coaching, play calling, and play sequencing, whatever you want to call it, at the end of the day, you got to convert. I don't care what the play is. Can we execute the play? So it is. Nah, man, it's just a lot of people reaching and just people just mad and they're gonna make a problem out of something, man. So
right.
don't
And again,
get
this
too much
coming.
into it.
And this comes from you. We spend the vast majority of our time talking, talking about the issues that we have with Todd. Well, issues that you have that Todd Bowles needs to address. But you're not making shit out of, you're not coming up with shit out of thin air, crazy ass narratives that make this man look crazy,
Right.
and all this other stuff. You just don't agree with some of the things that he's done, or at least in this Week 12 game against the Browns, some things that he's done. But people have now taken that and they really want this dude. They really want to hate this guy. They really want him to be, discredit him and make him dumb. You see not all, but I see people making the comparison like between him and Lovie Smith. Couldn't be any different. Couldn't be any more different. From Lovie Smith was Bruce Arians was way more than a Lovie Smith than a Todd Bowles. Other than the fact that the 2 black men who are head coaches for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers literally have nothing else in common. Low tone, maybe a low profile kind of a deal, but not Byron Leftwich, but Lovie Smith was way more arrogant and boisterous with all his silly ass claims, and Bruce Arians came in with the same thing and stayed the same way.
Right.
But there was nothing else that those 2 cats have in common in my mind. I mean, I haven't seen it. Nothing.
But
Coaching styles, no nothing.
But it's accountable. I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm gonna go as far as to say it's accountable any window they're saying about Lovie Smith and Bowles about the black coach and he might not be it's how can I put it, man? Intelligent enough, or you just kind of just not giving him the benefit of the doubt, just kind of just challenging his intelligence, like just making it seem like, well, you're this black coach, like it's that's how I get it. When you get to that point where you're stooping that low, like that's just innuendos, or you just insulting just anything that's coming out of his mouth because you don't believe he just knows what the fuck he's talking about. So
Right.
that's when it gets to that point, man. And it doesn't help when it is a black coach because at some point it started happening with Dirk Cutter when it got really bad.
I was really going to mention Dirk Cutter.
Yeah, when it got bad, Dirk Cutter couldn't give you a right answer. Like everything came out of Dirk Cutter's mouth was wrong, and
nothing. He everything he said was terrible and bad to everybody.
So that's why I think that's why I think the energy is it just like, hey man, like, but it doesn't look good because he is a black coach. So people have, how can you say, less patience? You just really just not taking it as, hey, let's sit back and trust the guy. You just mad. So everything that's going on, you just mad. So it's nothing he can say that's gonna make sense to you. You just mad. So if he say, hey, we just have to be better on third down, that doesn't mean that we're playing to get the third down and we just not making it. Like,
right?
Come on.
It's man, I'm telling you, it's one of the funniest. When I say funny, I really mean stupidest things I've seen this season. That was just one of the stupidest. Again, everybody's looking for something to nitpick over. I mean, I understand the frustrations and emotions of being, about a loss.
Yeah.
But when it comes to this, it come down to this, and just it's basically people's emotions. When it come down to this, it's just being stupid and people's emotions. Again, like you mentioned, we saw this with Dirk Cutter. Specific deal here. I mentioned two of them: Dirk Cutter and Bruce Arians, and what and the whole timeout deal, and that Bowles gave that everybody was like, what the hell are you talking about? About punting the ball.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Bruce Arians said that he took a delay of game penalty to give a field goal kicker at the chance to win a goddamn game, a game-winning field goal? He said he took a 5-yard penalty, delay of game penalty, to give the kicker a better chance. Do you remember him saying this?
Man, I don't remember that. I do remember. I remember when Dirk Cutter said he took a delay of the game to get the offense more room to run a play. I remember that. We was in the red zone and Jamie took a delay of game. It was a delay of game. He was like, well, we just took a delay of game to give us more room to run the play. And I was like, God damn, Dirk. Like,
you know what? I don't remember that one.
I see, but I remember that because that's when I knew, like, yeah, he smoked. He out of there. Like, you can't say that. And you can't justify something like that. We in the red zone near the goal line. You say we take a delay of game so you can have enough room in the touchdown to run a play. Like, you don't have anything that you can run that doesn't need a lot of room. Like, you just say, hey, well, since it's the vertical offense, so it's long developing routes. They need space to get people around, but that's not how you play the game, man. That's not how it works.
I remember that one.
I remember that. Like, I remember that because at that point, I think I was about done with Dirk. When he said that, I was like, yeah, that's when I just gonna start grabbing my lifeboat. I'm jumping off the Dirk Cutter ship. Yeah, man.
And I was a big Dirk Cutter fan, man. But again, he caught so much hell, boy. And a lot of that hell that he caught, which again, I say again, but this is the first time I've mentioned this, it's because the emotions that people have. Specifically at that time, it was because so many people felt so offensive about our quarterback. Mm-hmm. So anything that went on that made that quarterback not look as pristine or as highly favored as they thought that he would and should be, it all came down on the coach. All of it. We talked about the defense. We talked about the defense being the scapegoat. Yeah. Coach was the scapegoat.
Yeah,
his whole staff was scapegoat.
Yeah, he had to fall. He had to fall on the blade for James. Like, and it was fucked up to say it because at the end of the day, James still didn't work out. So,
we got rid of 2 coaches for that, man.
Yeah. So that was my whole thing when I looked on it, because and one guy that I like, I think he ended up. That's when Dirk Cutter became head coach and he started calling plays with Todd Monken. Todd Monken was calling. He was down them up, but I think in the end, I think Dirk Cutter he had to fall on the blade for James because he couldn't turn James into what the fan base or what the front office wanted.
And with the GM, right.
But then when Bruce Arians come in and he was like, nah, he ain't it, they jettisoned. So
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's the business of football, though, bro. Like, that's
Right.
how it works.
Right. And we were talking about emotions and all that stuff. Remember, there was also, again, looking at the time, comparing these coaches, Dirk Cutt at one point was like, hey, guys, if I knew the answer, somebody asked him a question about, hey, how do you fix such and such? Guys, if we had the answer, we'd fix it. If we had the answer, we'd already fixed it.
Right.
Dude, I mean, there was so many people who went in on Dirk Cutt at that stage. They just killed that man. Literally, this following season.
I just think Dirk was tired, man. He was Dirk came in, he was looking young and light
all
and
spry.
Yeah, but I think about the third year, man, Dirk was burnt out, man. It was a lot. Because I think deep down, Dirk wanted to play Fitz. I think the veterans on the team wanted to play. I wanted Fitz to keep playing because it gave us a shot. It gave us a stability. And I think when that decision came from the top to say, nope, we gonna play James, we can't pick out the decision. It put the team and the coaching staff back in the position they want to be in, where they have to make this work. Versus we have somebody out there that can make this work, or at least do
something.
At least make it look like we know what we're doing. With James out there, it was just all over the place. So yeah, man, and it's funny how this whole story worked, because now James crying at the Saints talking about how he lost his job. Like, the positive is I lost my job because of I ain't supposed to lose my job due to injury. Well, you weren't playing good, James. Like, I don't get it. The entitlement.
Yeah. That's a conversation for tomorrow when we're talking about the Bucs versus the Saints coming up on Monday night.
Man.
That's gonna be a deal. But going back to that Dirk Cutter thing, man, he was saying I don't know how to I don't have answers. Like if I knew how to fix it, I would have.
Yeah.
Fan base hate him. Following season, Bruce Arians said the exact same thing. Not a peep. A peep from, like, everybody was emotionally tied into him because they like what he said. They liked his demeanor. Todd Bowles don't have the demeanor that a lot of these cats want him to have. He don't comment like he's not a part of the team. He don't comment like he's an outsider also watching the team. He doesn't do that. So a lot of fans don't go to him. Plus, again, basically they can't relate to him because they don't see them in him.
Right.
So he ain't it for a lot of these cats. Right off the bat, he's if the Bucs ain't winning, and again, his side of the ball, and I got to say his side of the ball because that's how coaching has been working in the NFL. The head coach has a specialty. That's why he's the head coach. Every head coach in the NFL generally has a specialty. That they got that one thing they do, they make executive decision makers on a lot of things, like you mentioned earlier. But for the vast majority, they get there because they are specialized in one side of the ball or another.
Right.
Bruce Arians allegedly was a specialized offensive guy. We didn't win the Super Bowl with his specialized offensive mind. We won it with Todd Bowles' defense. Todd Bowles has a different set of skills and a different mentality when it comes to his being a personality. When it comes to his being the face of the Bucs. He's not that rah-rah guy. He'll tell cats what they need to hear and pretty much won't offer a whole lot more outside of that. He's not going to throw people under the bus, and he ain't going to talk a whole lot of crazy shit out in the media. That's not his thing. So he's not that caricature that people want to see, and especially Bucs. As our fellow Bucs fans love to fall in love with caricatures of fucking people like John Gruden, Bruce Arians. At one time, people like Raheem Morris, I believe. I can't say, but that's not what we have right now with Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles is just like a big father figure for a lot of these guys on their football, on his defense specifically.
Right.
His defense is killing still.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's why I think there's going to be a big hang up when people actually realize. I don't know how they haven't realized it yet, but the identity of the Bucs is the defense, and their defense is taking on the personality of Todd Bowles.
Yeah.
Todd Bowles welcomes all these challenges. Todd Bowles is basically he doesn't complain, which a lot of most coaches won't. But he's definitely not throwing anybody under the bus about all these challenges he's getting from the offensive side of the ball that making his side of the ball work much harder to be productive. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now, I believe, are ranked like the 7th overall points allowed.
Defense. Yeah.
The Bucs would probably be number 2, number 3 if the offense actually had any damn thing going.
If it was complimentary football, if it was complimentary football, yes, the defense would be much better. Because of the fact that they're not on the field as much and they're having the offense of the opposing team in situations they don't want to be in, that allow our defense to actually attack and do what we like to do. That's blitzing and that's controlling, the line of scrimmage, and that's really putting the offense in situations where they're more prone for mistakes. Since we're playing with an offense that can't really hold up their end of the deal on their side of the ball, it affects how the defense is played, because now you're playing that you don't want the offense. You're playing in a way that you don't want mistakes to happen versus imposing your will. So when you have a certain defense that's saying, well, we can't really play aggressive because we don't want any plays to go over our head, or you have an offense or you have a head coach that came out and said, well, we didn't do this because I didn't want to risk a turnover, when Tom Brady is probably one of the least turnover quarterbacks in the NFL this season. So it's for Todd Bowles, man. I think that's his philosophy. I think he's not an aggressive coach by nature. I think defensively, I think he likes to play the way he plays. But if he's making the decision as a whole, as a team, he don't want the team to put. It's hard to put my finger on it, Robert. As a head coach, he's coaching the team. He coached to not have to make least amount of mistakes. If that makes sense, because I remember he said something about it in the off season. They were saying how he was going to run practices, and he was like, "Well, we're going to run practices. We're not going to run practices full bore, so the players don't be burnt out midway through the season. So the practices are safe, And that's when I think there came a question up. They were saying, "Hey, do the team run one-on-ones?" I think Tom Brady said they don't do one-on-ones. And in the press conference, they asked him. He paused and he was like, "Yeah, I do one-on-one." So I think, philosophy-wise, as a defensive coordinator, Todd Bowles loves to bring the dogs. He loves to play a style of defense. I think as a head coach, he's one of those guys that, hey, I don't want to make a decision they lose us the game. Like, he just want to play the game and let the game unfold how it is. He's not going to take a lot of risk as a head coach. He just wants things to work the way it works. So with Todd Bowles, man, and I just think that's how he is as a person. I think when he doesn't have to worry about making the big decisions as a head coach, he can coach how you want the defense to coach based on what's going on in the game. But if he has to worry about the offense and the defense, I think he lacks that balance on, what he wants the offense, how he wants the offense to do versus what he wants the defense to do. And I think it showed in that Browns game how he felt about the offense and how he just kind of always defaulted to the defense, saying, well, the defense is playing, we're going to play to the strength of the team, which he's not wrong. But
I was about to say, because it proved fucking correct.
Yeah,
These cats went back on the field, man, and 3 more goddamn times punting.
Right. So
and fucking up.
He's not wrong. I just think in certain situations, he doesn't take the shots he needs as a head coach from using the offense. He uses the offense on, well, if you guys can't get in 3 downs, I'm not going to risk doing it on 4th down and putting the defense again. I get it. Like, wholesomely, I don't have a problem with the mindset. I get it. It makes sense. I just think in certain situations, you have to just say, you just got to roll the dice. Like, it makes sense. Like, saving your money makes sense, but sometimes when you gamble, it pay off. So sometimes when you're in the flow of that game, and especially in that game, that's why I think me and a lot of fans just kind of just was on that type of tip on, like, you got to do something, man. You have the Tom Brady for a reason. You have these Mike Evans and Julio Jones and all these players for a reason. Like, you're coaching like you have Kyle Trask. Like, you coach like you don't have Tom Brady. You don't have Mike Evans. Huh? You said what? You hear me?
Yeah. You cut off like 30 seconds ago. So whatever point you was making.
Oh yeah, I was just saying, as far as Todd Bowles, I said, man, the way he coached showed up in the Browns game as far as being conservative, like not taking enough chances with the offense in interest of the defense. Like he knows the defense is a strong point. He's not wrong. I just think in some point you still have to, you know, use your offense for better or for worse. Like and I think it showed up in the Browns game. Like I think it would make if certain decisions would make sense if we had Cal Trask instead of Tom Brady because you're like, well, look, I just don't, I'm not gonna put this weight on this guy. But I think it kind of goes against the whole idea of having a Tom Brady where you can put certain chances in certain situational football, certain situations in the football game on him, and you just
Uh-huh.
have to live and die with it for the fact that you have a strong defense. So yeah, man. I just think they have to find that balance. I think it is a decision making type of battle in certain situations between Leftwich, Brady, and Bowles. I think Bowles shuts down a lot of the chances, and when Tom Brady want to take them, then Leftwich want to take them. So they have to find their balance, and I think that's what Brady was lamenting, as far as the players and the coaches. Like people are not seeing the same thing. Like Brady seeing, hey, this is an opportunity to score. Byron Leftwich was looking at it, hey, this is an opportunity where, hey, we can just use the defense to keep pinning them back. I think from a macro standpoint, people are not seeing things the same way and not being on the same page. So
Yeah,
that's how I feel.
yeah, and again, I'm still pretty much torn. Like people think it's like completely, it's complete logic. It is complete like without question how the hierarchy goes. Like I'm
Yeah.
not even sure. Like I'm
I'm
really
not.
not because the first thing that Todd Bowles said when he in his opening press conference, I'm
Mhm.
staying on my side of the ball.
Right.
I'm saying so. I'm not sure he's making these calls when it comes to from a game manager standpoint. Yeah, that's what's supposed to happen. The head coach be like, hey. I'm put my foot down and put my thumb down. I'm making this damn call, like get off the field. But you got an OC on the sideline who also should be like, and I'm literally thinking that he is. I apologize. I'm about to say I'm thinking he's. I don't know. I'm not even. There's no way for me to be 100% sure because again, those two guys between Leftwich and Brady.
Yeah.
It seemed like those two cats would be making the call. One of the two is making those calls. I really don't feel like Bowles is the guy who's like shutting them down like that. I just don't. Like, and I've thought about that for a hard. Like when the season first started, I forgot there was one scenario in the game in week 2. Who the hell we
played week 2. We played
was it New Orleans?
Was it New Orleans? Week 2.
Am I crazy? Maybe it was New Orleans. But there was one point in the game I'm like, man, who the hell made that call? Like, who signed off on this? I'm like, who the hell signed on this call? I'm trying to think, and I'm literally trying to think of the specific play. I meant to pull it up. But I'm like, man, that don't feel like, that'd be something like that Bowles are like, it wouldn't be something he would veto. Like it felt like something. It felt like if it just felt like a scenario was like, hey, what does the offense feel like doing? And it felt like we went with the offense rather than like, hey, the conservative deal. Because I know right now that's the whole deal. Like Todd Bowles is conservative. Listen again. I keep going back to the fact that he's seen what this offense can do over the last 3 seasons. He's seen how he's had to come in and save their asses. And I don't know how much confidence he think that he has because we haven't seen anything that to deter him from being conservative or not conservative, but from like literally putting all his faith into him.
Yeah,
like
I mean, and you're right. I mean, I think he has his reasons. If Will's a high flying offense and we'll put points on the board, I think he'll be a lot more.
Or even
open.
moving the ball, not even putting points on the board, even moving the ball. Because I apologize. I interrupt you. I apologize, but I'm gonna go back because we talked about this whole whether or not he should have called a timeout and this and that in the regulation of the Week 12 game against the Browns. Had the Bucks been actually moving the ball, not even just scoring again, had they just been moving the ball, I think everybody goes full on everybody. Leftwich, Brady, Bowles, everybody on that sideline, like, hey, go, run, hurry up and go. We got something we can work with. They had absolutely nothing to work with. no momentum, trying to make something out of nothing. And I know the percentage of him throwing a touchdown was 0.2% or some ignorant ass thing that somebody pulled out their ass. I'm like, man, I don't give a damn what that fucking advanced statistics say. I know I've watched. I was going to every home game in Tampa this season.
Right.
Drove my black ass from Atlanta and drove my 7.5 hours over to Atlanta. I've watched this man throw at least 7 passes that should have been intercepted. Yeah. In the last 3 weeks, I know I've seen at least 4. So I know that, I mean, the statistics say one thing, but I'm like, the gameplay says another. Like, anything could have happened. You know, we can talk about the timeout, you know, for another 3 hours, but I'm not. But there's a reason why, you know, you don't just go blindly with faith. And if you ain't passing the eye test, you ain't passing the eye test.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't work. And it has to go with the flow of the game more so than statistic analysis, which ain't nobody got that much goddamn time to be looking at on the sideline in the course of a game. So I mean, it's a weird deal here. But Todd Bowles has an uphill battle to win back. You know, whatever love half-hearted fans, like, you know, Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans around the country and so forth. There's a whole lot of them that are very vocal, that have something to say again. You know, take an excerpt and reimagine it and making it something crazy, you know, to kind of discredit him and what he can do and what he's done for the team. Right. You know, that's going to happen. It's just the way that life goes. It's just not just football, but Todd Bowles does have a way to go in way of winning the division title and then making his way up to the playoffs and actually making something happen before, you know, he gets alleviated, or, you know, all this pressure gets alleviated off of him of trying to make him look like a dumbass, you know.
Yeah, winning fix everything, man. He got to win. We got to string some games together. So I think he knows that. And like I said, we both got points on it. I think it just at certain points, man, it's just like, goddamn, you know, what are you gonna do? I just feel like, man, that defense. I think he's so defensive minded. I mean, and rightfully so, dog. Like I get it, man. I get that offense wasn't doing anything, man. It wasn't performing to what his liking was to make a certain decision like that, or go with a decision and go forward. Yeah, man. It is. I mean, and you know, situations like that, you damn you do, you damn you don't. And that's what sometimes it boils down to. Like, I mean, hindsight is 20/20 for a reason. So I mean, you damn you do, you damn you don't. Like, just. Yeah, man. It just didn't help anything when we actually lose the game, and we didn't take a shot to try to win the game. And then your reason after the game was like, it didn't make sense. So it wasn't a good situation all around. He didn't have a good explanation for it anyway. Explanation they would have said, okay,
that was never gonna be it.
Yeah, man. I mean, he could have. I mean, he really. I mean, the thing was, it worked the way he said it worked. It just, in the end, you know, they scored at the end. You know what I mean? It actually went the way he said it went. Like, hey,
exactly, it did.
We got the ball back. We just couldn't do nothing with the ball. To his credit, that the offense wasn't moving the ball. The problem was he was saying that, hey, if they get the ball back, he was saying, in essence, if we get the offense the ball back, they was able to move the ball and score. Yeah. Well, that wasn't the case. I mean, it kind of went against the point because we wasn't moving the ball and we was close enough to at least try to score. So I don't think nobody was saying, okay, bro, if you punt the ball and then we stop and we get the ball back, we were just gonna run down the field. I don't think that was obvious at all. So when you say we're not moving the ball, but then you expect us to move the ball and get the ball for the defense, it just didn't make sense. So that's why a lot of people, even including myself, was like, that didn't, you know, it didn't help the decision to punt at that situation, man. It just didn't help.
Right. And we'll pause for a second one more time, man. Take a quick music break. We're gonna come right back. We're gonna talk about what might have been positives in that week 12 loss to the Browns. We'll talk about what possibly could have been a positive, and we'll get into how the defense feels, you know, being as used as they were and having to deal with the injuries and still be productive. We'll take a quick pause and we'll come back and we'll talk about that. Right back at it. Hey, so we talked about all the stuff, man, that kind of went into the game. But one thing I want to take a look at real quick, man. I want to talk about this defense. Actually, I apologize. Before we talk about the defense, just anything in general, anything that you can pull and be like, hey, like this a positive, something we can possibly build on. Is there anything other than the defense that you saw, like anything that you saw at any point from the offense? So you're like, hey, well, maybe this, maybe that, anything that you can pull and use as a guiding light, as a any kind of thing that kind of just make you feel like, okay, it's not as bad as I think.
Yeah, I think our running back depth is better than what most people give him credit for. Of course, with Rashad White coming in and being the starter, and I think Sneak, Keyshawn Vaughn, I think he came in and had some good reps. So I think in that running back room, we're just not dependent on Leonard Fournette to just kind of carry the load. I think we have some good running back. We have a good running back room, even with Sneak. They just kind of really just becoming the odd man out because we got Gio Bernard back, and we know what he can do as far as him being able to be a good third down back, catching and moving out of the backfield, which is another element we probably miss. You know what I'm saying? As far as the offense being in certain situations like a 4th and 2, that we can kind of scheme Gio Bernard to kind of catch something out the backfield. Because when you think about it, when last year or earlier this year, how we was using him, was he was doing a lot of those option routes out the backfield, and they was working. You know what I mean? So maybe getting that element back in the offense, would kind of help, move the ball, or kind of open up another aspect of scheming on offense. But what I can build on as far as one of those positives, that's one of the main things. I think we got a good running back room. I think Rashad White stepped up to the challenge to take the starting snaps. I think he did good. I think he was trying hard. You can tell he's very nimble. He's athletic. He will try to get those yards. He's a great runner
too, man. Smooth,
great runner, man. He can run that rock. And I think for what it's worth, when Keyshawn Vaughn came in, he had good reps. Keyshawn Vaughn had good reps. Like I was like, he was getting first down. So I think a good positive from this game and just moving forward collectively for the offense is, we have a good running back room. And another positive I go into is that I think Julio Jones is getting healthier and healthier. And I think that's something to keep our eye on. And I think once we get the collective starters that we started the season with the ideal of Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Julio Jones, and Russell Gage, and get those guys up and rolling and start getting some continuity and getting some chemistry going, I think that's something to really be had and something to really keep an eye on, keep an eye out for. Because I think those 4 receivers have yet to play together, or if they haven't played long. But
not long at all. No.
we haven't seen the complement of receivers we had the idea of starting this offense off with all year. And for what it's worth, I think Russell Gage is good. I think Russell Gage is, of course, he's not a number 1. He's damn not a number 2. But I think if you surround him with a Mike Evans or Chris Godwin and Julio, Russell Gage can be that guy that I think we wanted Tyler Johnson to be, or we want Scotty Miller to be. Just that guy that's going to take that 3rd or 4th cornerback or that safety and just eat him alive. I think Russell Gage can do that. So first and foremost, the running back room is I think we have a solid running back room going forward. Getting Gio Bernard back with Sneak, Rashad White, absent of Leonard Fournette. So we're not in a position where, even though we're not a good running team, we definitely gonna be a worse running team without many. I don't think that's the case. We down there to do a little more. But I think as far as the wide receiver room also, just with that, I think getting Julio back healthy and having Julio play the way he's playing, getting those after getting those yards after catch, getting those yards, because that's what he's really good at. That's what we're missing in his offense. I love Mike Evans, but he's not good at running with the ball. That's why it burns my soul when we throw bubble screens to Mike Evans. Like, he's 6'5", he's not nimble, he's not agile. Like, why are you asking him to navigate behind the line of scrimmage and run? Like, I get what we do with Chris Godwin, but Chris Godwin's just one of those kind of guys. He's just a all around type of guy. I love what Chris Godwin do. He do a lot of the dirty work for the offense. But I think seeing those flash of Julio getting around, running with the ball and catching and getting more comfortable and starting to use him more, those my positives. And of course, is seeing how we all look as a wide receiver group when we get Russell Gage back, and just kind of seeing, just kind of getting a glimpse of this offense somewhat at full strength, because we haven't been there all year. And that's one of the things I've been kind of still being, mindful of before I just kind of lay my judgment down on the offense altogether is, well, we haven't been healthy. We haven't been healthy all year. Even started with in training camp losing Jensen, and for what it's worth, Aaron Stenny. So I think if we just kind of get this offense back to full strength, or as strong as we can get, for all the projected starters, minus the guys on the offensive line, I think we can hopefully start seeing something, a little more juice on the field, a little more movement with the ball. So that's one of the kind of the positive aspirations I have for this offense, just coming out of the Browns game.
All right, cool. Yeah, I agree with you 100% on the running back room. I'm glad that, we've all gotten a chance now to see Rachaad White and see what he can look like. Rachaad White has the kind of acceleration that I pounded the table for when I talked about keeping a Ronald Jones. Because Ronald Jones, he gets to the line of scrimmage fast and then he goes. And it's not a whole lot of pitter-patter of the feet like we see with Fournette. Fournette has his place, man. Fournette in his prime, even still now, Fournette is a force when he's used correctly. I've now gotten to the point where I'm thinking Fournette is a better change of pace back, being a change of pace as the second guy, not the first guy to get things going. He's the guy to keep things moving and make the defense tired more so than to be the guy that can start it and get going. He's not a catalyst. I don't see him as a catalyst at the running back position like he used to be, back in his prime days when he was big and faster than everybody at LSU, and then he kind of shocked the league a little bit. But he can absolutely run over cats. He can absolutely hammer and hurt some guys, every now and again if he's not trying to, do anything stupid like run people over, finding contact when it shouldn't even be there. But yeah, the running back room I believe can be and probably is in good hands with the likes of Rachaad White leading the pack and everybody else kind of following, behind him and finding their place. I 100% agree with you on that. The wide receiver room, like you said, we haven't seen everybody healthy. We haven't seen everybody utilized. So we do have the hope of maybe we do see get to the point where we can maybe basically out talent other teams. Because we have a schedule coming up where it's kind of favorable when it comes to talent, the talent aspect for most of the season. So yeah, I mean those are definitely good positives, and I agree with you on pretty much all of those, man. But yeah, I think the biggest positive, once again, basically it's a recurrent act. Biggest positive for me, defense. Defense kept dealing with injuries. Came into the game with an injury to Vita Vea's foot. We didn't know how he'd play. We didn't know how well they do against the run. And for some reason, man, even though Nick Chubb got a bunch of yards, did not feel like he was killing the Bucs defense whatsoever, despite the number of time that he was getting the carries and as much as the Bucs were out there on the field.
Yeah, because the thing is, that was the only way they was moving the ball. Jacoby Brissett wasn't doing much from the quarterback position, passing the ball or carving us up from his arm. They was moving the ball because they were getting them chunk yardage or run plays. And I tweeted this, and I was just like, well, given the fact, I really have Nick Chubb as probably like the top 3 running back in the league. Like he's the ultimate running back. Like he's been this way ever since Georgia. Like I was pounding the table for us to get him in the draft. We got Rojo that year, but Nick Chubb was the first running back taken in the second round, the second day, and I was like, can we please get Nick Chubb, because I just knew how good he was. He's extremely great back and somewhat underrated because he's quiet. He don't have a lot of personality. He plays for the Browns. Right. But I think Nick Chubb is that offense. Like it didn't feel like he was stabbing us in the heart with those runs. Yes, that was moving the ball, but that's all they was doing. Jacoby Brissett's job was to protect the ball, get the ball, move the ball around when you can. But even with Amari Cooper making those drops or whatnot, it still didn't feel like offensively they was having a way with us. Like they had 10 points all game. So I don't give a damn. Let them run as long as they ain't scoring. So, and granted, I didn't go into this game thinking, oh, we was going to hold Nick Chubb to a historic low. No. The Browns got a good offensive run game, like from the offensive line to the running back, even with Kareem Hunt coming in and being a chance to pass back. They can run the ball. Like that's foolish. Like they going to run the ball. I already went into that. Like, so with the defense, man, once again, I think the defense still came to show up the play. I think they did as much as they could have done. They played enough to win. They definitely played good enough to win that game, probably 2 times over. Like It just, man, like the defense. I'll tell you one guy that I'm starting to warm up about also, man. Keanu Neal. Like
Oh yeah.
if people ain't really paying attention to what he does when he get in the game, I think he's the enforcer that James that Whitehead was last year. But I
Mhm.
think I think he got a little more to him, and I think of course he's a veteran. And I think he's playing the position well. Like you saw some of the blitzes he was doing coming off the edge, blitzing and things like that. I
Yeah.
think Keanu Neal is carving a role out for himself very good in his offense, especially when Whitehead, I mean not Whitehead, but Winfield went out, and I think Keanu Neal came right on in and gave good reps. So of course Winfield is who he is, but I really like Keanu Neal and what he brings to the table and what he's doing from just his standpoint, not being a starter but being a rotational guy, being a very dependable rotational guy and bringing that force on the field. He let it be known who he is and when he's out there. So that's another guy I think is kind of one of those guys that a lot of people probably don't talk about enough. That yeah, I like Keanu Neal. I like what he's doing for us. I like what he brings to the table. So definitely.
Cool, man. One of the I play one more real. I play real quick. I play one more little clip here from Todd Bowles' press conference after the loss. This one right here burned me. This one right here pissed me off a little bit and made me laugh. I want to find out who this was that asked this question. This is one of the final questions someone asked at the press conference given after Sunday's loss.
No, the defense has to get off the field no matter what. I think offensively, we weren't very good on third down at all.
I apologize. That's the wrong clip. Here we go. 1 second. Here we go.
Todd, just your defense's inability to close out games or get the opponent off the field late in games, whether it was at Pittsburgh or this game the other day, or even in Seattle, who scored a couple times in the fourth quarter. How troublesome is that? And what's the cause of it? Just the defense not being able to close things out.
It's disappointing. Obviously, you want to be well in 2 minutes on defense.
Yeah, that was that was some fucking clown. I don't know who I hope somebody tweet me, email me. I want to know who that is that asked that question. And it's a thing too, man, because you know what? You know, it's indicative of exactly how a lot of the media, local media at very least, how they see this team.
Yeah.
How they see this team. This team, like the defense is basically auxiliary. It's optional. Like the defense is being held to a stage where literally the defense basically have to play a perfect game. Even Greg Allman, who I have a great deal of respect for, somebody mentioned, you know, the Bucs defense played a damn good game or played really well. The response was, yeah, for 59 minutes. It's crazy to me, man.
Yeah,
like,
man,
the expectation for the defense is to play damn near perfect, damn near flawless football. I want to go back real quick. I want to get this, and this is when I find the things I want to get your intake on, man.
Yeah.
But a couple weeks ago, when the Bucs lost to Rams, star cornerback Jalen Ramsey said, like, we shouldn't even been in that position. Like somebody from offense has to come in and be the guy, be a dog and close out games on offense. Like we should have never been in that position. We shouldn't even been on the field. I mentioned that at the top of our talk here. What do you think, man? I 100% feel like the Bucs defense, somebody can be like, hey, like he damn right, and we feel the same. Like we should not have been on the field, you know, in that position where we could lose a game after put on the performance that we did. Obviously, again, I mentioned that Todd Bowles has like a personality that the defense is taking on, and they welcome those kind of challenges, to be playing games like that and be put in those positions to be, you know, to show how tough they are. But goddamn, man, when is enough? Yep. When can the defense actually take a second to breathe? Like serious business. Like what is it that makes this the perspective? I'm sorry, perspective, but the perception of this team be so skewed that the defense has to play flawlessly in order to have a chance at winning every week? Like,
man, that's hard to explain because not for me. I'm just saying to kind of explain their logic to it, but because at the end of the day, all they see is points on the board. Like if somebody scored, then it's the defense. But to Jalen Ramsey's credit and to Jalen Ramsey's point, at what point do we get the benefit of the doubt? You know, like if all we're looked at as okay, we have to just go out there and stop them no matter what. That's cool and all, but that's not being practical. Like I say, the law of averages, like I said about the Browns game, the law of averages, you keep giving the team the ball, they gonna figure out how to score. Like they're gonna score. Like it's not a defense on this planet, that play 16 games and then no team score. It's not a defense that had 0 points against for the season. It's not gonna happen. So when you look at a defense or you put this defense in this type of box that hey the defense can't close out games or the defense is getting scored on the last minute of the game. Well, the thing is, this is what Jalen Ramsey is talking about. Like, at what point do the offense say, you know what, we got it? Man, you know what, y'all gonna man, it don't even matter. It don't even matter if they score. It don't even matter. The game is out of reach anyway. It don't even matter. You know, defenses want to feel like they too. They want to go out and say, hey man, we're just gonna just ride this thing on out. We ain't just gonna let anything get behind us. We're gonna keep everything in front of us. It really don't matter. Let's just try not to get hurt. Let's just go ahead and get through this game. Let's go through the motion for the most part. Let's just go through the motion. It's just fourth quarter, they're down by 21. It's no mathematical way they can win this game. You know, we can let them score, and it's not gonna matter. Defenses want to feel like that, and I think that's what Jalen Ramsey is coming to. Like, why is the pressure on us for all game to stop the other team when the offense isn't holding up their end of the deal to score on the other team, and when we're playing bad defenses? So I think for Jalen Ramsey, man, I think Jalen Ramsey said what a lot of players want to say about their team in situations like that, including us. That hey, at the end of the day, goddamn, we held them to 17 points. What else you want us to do? You know what I'm saying? Like we held them to 10 points all the way down to the fourth quarter. What else you want us to do? We're playing the Browns here. Like and like I say, not to talk bad to them. Like I tweeted this about the guy. I said, don't treat a team we're playing like that college team like we just the automatic.
right.
Yeah, you give every team we play, I give them their respect. They're professionals too. Like they're experts at their job. Like it's any given Sunday, that shit real. So I think at the end of the day, man, I think what Jalen Ramsey said is what a lot of defensive players would like to say about their team when they're put in positions like that where the offense just can't do anything. It's the outcome of this game is going to fall on the backs of the defense. And nobody don't want to feel like that, man, as a defense, because you're reacting to whatever the offense is doing. And some points you just really be with your hands tied behind your back if you call this play and they call the right play for it. You like the Carter Davis play at the end. Something unfortunate, blow the whole game wide open. When in essence we didn't even want to. It shouldn't even been there. That could have happened, and it should not have had no bearing on the game, on the outcome. Because if we were doing what we supposed to do on the offensive side, who cares if they scored the touchdown at the end? Or who's scared? It shouldn't have mattered. It shouldn't have mattered
at that point.
And that was overtime, correct? So it's just like, again, like it shouldn't have been players like this, especially Carter Davis, where you're one on one, you're matched up like that. It shouldn't have came down to a point where, like you say, I have to play flawless. I can't slip. I can't, make the wrong read, and the game is just over with based on my mistake. When collectively as an offense, their job is to score points. So I get it, man, and I want to do if guys on our team feel like they deep down. I want to Devin White Sleep want to say this sometimes. I want to if some of these guys just be like, especially some of these veterans or people that probably been with the team and understand like hell now, like 2-3 years ago we didn't have this problem. We got a problem. Like and once again, Todd Bowles preached it as no matter what the defense got to do what they do. Yeah, that's cool and all, but hey man, like you need to let's address the elephant in the room because if we wanna be real about it, we're still a top 10 defense. We're still a damn near Super Bowl defense. We're still the same caliber defense to win a Super Bowl if the
Right.
offense pull their weight.
If the
So
offense pulled away, any
if
of
the
it.
offense pull their weight, that damn near makes us a better defense. So, you have guys that probably have that mindset looking like, man, god damn, like I get like a Levante Davis, a guy that was saying, hey, I don't know if I want to come back when we had James going through all them years, the dark years, or you got a guy like this supremely talented, he looking like, look, man, I'm wasting my career here, I'm wasting my time here. You
Yeah.
have guys like that that's coming back on the premise of we have a Super Bowl chance. Guys like Levante Davis can ride off into the sunset. He has all the stats and accolades to make him Hall of Fame. That's no question. I go to bat for Levante Davis all I could. That's my son. Don't worry about him. But nah, man. But to the point, man. That's how I feel. I just feel like Jalen Ramsey said what how he felt, and I
Yeah.
think it needed to be said because that just really just addresses the elephant in that locker room. For the Rams, and the Rams are a bad team this year. So when you can look, and Jalen Ramsey ain't playing good this year, and I think that's all a testament of how he feels about the team, how he feels about the offense. Like, am I really gonna go out here and get this thing 110% when we just I don't have any help from my offense. I'm not gonna
Right.
risk turn my ACL, turn my Achilles for a team that I just feel like we ain't going anywhere. I think that's real. I think it creeps in the head. There's a guy that when you playing high school football, and you suck. I'm not gonna go out here and run myself into these big. I'm not doing that. Look,
Yeah, I'm trying to get
I'm
my
trying to.
scholarship and get
I
trying to
don't
get
want
my
to be.
scholarship and get to my next
Yeah,
place in life.
no, not even that deep. It's just like I don't want to even wake up so on Saturday. Like I want to be good. I want to get through this game, get back to the school, and just go out Friday night, man. I'm not. So yeah, I just think Jalen Ramsey said what a lot of players probably want to say but couldn't. But Jalen Ramsey, one of them guys, he go against the grain a lot. He's gonna say how he feels. He's unapologetic, and he wasn't wrong.
You think anybody from the Bucks? You think who from the Bucks, if you think had the gall to actually pull that off and say it on behalf of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, which they have the right to feel that way? Is there anybody you can see who would actually step up and say it outside of Devin White?
I was just about to say Devin White. He top of the list because he said it about James. he literally called it out when we beat the Saints, and he called him out like hey man, we could have been doing this if we had it, but the offense was the problem. I
Yeah.
think besides Devin White, who else would do it? Who else would do it? I don't think Levante Davis would do it. Levante ain't that type of guy. I don't think he'll start a fight like that. Devin White, man, a guy. Let me see.
I'm trying to think, man. Carlton Davis might say, I think who definitely would have said it, but he's gone. Jordan Whitehead. I think Jordan Whitehead.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Jordan Whitehead would have said something. Yeah, Jordan Whitehead would
Yeah.
have definitely said something. Jordan Whitehead, he would have let it be known. And you have players like that because they understand how good they are as a unit. And they
Yeah.
understand, hey man, this unfair weight you putting on us, and if we lose the game, it's not even about y'all anymore. It's about us. Oh no, I can't go for that.
Right.
So,
Right.
you know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like we can't be the reason why. Like that clip you showed about where the defense is what is say? Just not playing all the way through the game or giving up points. Those players would say, "Well, hey, shouldn't have to be in this point. How many times
Yeah.
our offense had the ball? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like so, yeah. Jordan Whitehead definitely he would have said it too. Yeah.
Because this defense again, man, this defense has allowed 22 points or over 3 times this entire season. And the third time, it literally took overtime, 2 3 and outs, and a damn near miracle catch by a tight end to get 23 points on the board. and again, it's crazy. And again, these guys, again, they have to, I keep saying again, these cats are being called to do what they have to do. They gotta stop people whenever they get on the field. They've got to make plays whenever plays are to be made. But goddamn, y'all, it's got to be a statute of limitations when it comes to holding the defense to a standard that the offense can't even get close to. This is this is almost, and it's backwards because it's almost, you start looking back at, last time we were able to say anything like this, at least I think to a point where a majority of fans agree, we have to go all the way back to the 1999-2000 Tony Dungy set of, Bucks where the defense was killing and they were like, hey, just get scores, 17 points, what have you. Man, except for this time, it's the defensive-minded head coach who apparently people are going to blame for not holding the offense to a high standard.
Yeah.
So it's really weird, man. I really hate that. I really hate that we have such a divided fan base, or such a large portion of the fan base who basically see the team as the offense, and they take the offense's hindrances and issues and basically place it on the team. You basically have to split the two units apart to say what's good and what's bad and what's working and what's not, and you can't just put it together. You can't just say the Bucks are a bad team, because the Bucks aren't a bad team. The Bucks you can't have a top 7 defense and be a bad team.
Yeah, right.
Like, basically nobody wants to call out what's going on and what's wrong. A lot of it has to do with in the past, same now. A lot of it has to do with our quarterback and what the people want to see from him and what they expect of him and so forth, and kind of be a part of his story and all that. Whatever. I'm a Bucks fan. I don't give a damn. I care about the Bucks win and loss record and the players that's going to be on the team for the long run. But again, I love Tom Brady as a Buck. I love everybody else that's on the roster as a Buck. But still, we can't be so divided in our attention that we want to be so, so much, complimentary of one player, and then kind of basically excuse his part, or not his part, like one unit, one player, whoever it is. You can't just excuse their part in losses and then just kind of make it about everybody. I mean, Nobody's perfect. No unit has played perfect. Everybody has gotten scored on. Everybody has missed opportunities. All this stuff is going on. That's part of football. But when you got one side of the ball that is doing so exceptionally well, no matter how you look at it, how you just split it up, when you actually look at what they're doing and they're doing it so exceptionally well, and then you have one that's lit on the opposite side, the complete polar opposite.
Yeah. And it's not even.
You can't just say, okay, well, it's the team. Like, nah, it's not the team. There's something specific that you're trying to ignore. There's something you don't want to address. Just let it go. Let it go. Again, week 12 is in the books. Looking forward to week 13, Monday Night Football against a division rival, New Orleans Saints. We hate them. They hate us. We don't know who's going to be at quarterback. Actually, we do. I think Dalton's going to be there. I can't see the young fella jumping back in.
Winston?
Can't see Winston jumping back in.
No. They're not playing Winston. No. I think they should Winston over there. Like, if they're going to lose, they're going to lose not helping, not this. I think because, Dennis Allen, he gets it. Like, if they're going to lose, they'd rather lose not turning the ball over, not throwing gas on the situation to help them lose. Like, they'll rather get blew out like last game, 12-0. They'd rather lose like that than get blew out by 28-0 because the quarterback gave up extra possessions. And I think Devin White put the nail in the coffin for Jameis career-wise. When he's made that comment after we beat them, Jameis ain't been the same. I don't think the Saints fan base, because the whole earning, he did exactly what he did to us what he's been doing to teams for 5 years. Giving them the game. And that game in itself, offensively, was a mundane game. We couldn't do nothing. We basically just rolled it out until Jameis started making mistakes. And I think
we knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, and we knew it happened, but that's the MO on Jameis. And I think teams collectively understand if you get a lead on the Saints, you force them to pass, and Jameis going to make the bad decision. So as a coach, I don't blame him. Like, I don't trust you. Like, I just don't trust you. Yes, you can do all these things. Yeah, you can push the ball. But Andy Dalton can throw the damn ball too. But Andy Dalton is better decision making. I think that's what they're going with. If we're gonna lose with a guy that makes better decisions. We're just gonna get beat. We're not gonna lose with a guy that's helping us lose. So I think with Jameis, unless something happens to Andy Dalton get injured, he won't see the field. He won't. Like it's a wrap for him there, man. Like it's a wrap. It's a wrap. And like I don't wish nothing bad on the guy. I just think when he came out and made that statement about I lost my job due to injury, and the positive say I shouldn't have lost my job due to injury. I think that really was a shot to the front office and the coach staff. Like y'all benched me because I was hurt, and I didn't get my job there because I was hurt. And that's why I say it's the entitlement for me because in the end, you couldn't justify that you was the starter, you were playing well enough to come back. Like it's and then they was winning games with Andy Dalton. They was looking like an offense, like a offense that isn't sporadic, isn't all over the place. Like, hey, if we can coach this up, we can scheme this up, and we can run the offense and execute, we should be able to win. It just at the end of the day, Andy Dalton isn't, I mean, the thing is, I'll say this real quick. I don't think Andy Dalton a bad quarterback. I just think he isn't a guy that he isn't a guy you can put a lot on. I think he'll make the certain decisions, make the certain throws. I just think a lot has to be going on around him for him to succeed. I mean, I don't have a problem with Andy Dalton. I just think he's got shitty parts of the deal. I mean, in Cincinnati, he wasn't good. He just wasn't the guy that was going to lead him to the promised land. But, man, as far as the Saints, I think who they play last week?
49ers.
49ers, what, 12-0? They got
them when they blanked them? That was the 49ers, I believe. Am I crazy?
Yeah, 13-0. Yeah, 13-0.
Yeah.
So
they gotta. Yeah. Well, they always end up. We always end up in a tough game with them most of the time is because of their defense, and I like them.
And with works out, man, boy, got the whole Cam Jordan. I know he's licking his chops for real. So
yeah, well,
Josh Wells, I hope you can hold up.
Hey, Josh Wells and bring in Cole Keefe. And Cole Keefe just running Soch.
I know, right?
Man, every snap just come in and blindside them.
Yeah, and this the bye week for them. And this the bye week for them after they play us. So I know they gonna be even more motivated to try to get a dub going to the bye week. So and then they come right back and play Atlanta. So and then this is when kind of the NFC South and start just rounding themselves out. So
they started it. This basically because they started the whole season. They started their front the first half. The first 3 games they had all NFC South division opponents.
Yeah.
So they had it rough. Went 1-3. They went 1-3 to start the season off with all the NFC South runs. So we'll see how they close out. But that's what we got coming up. Yeah, man. Monday night, another primetime game, and we don't do really well, specifically offensively on primetime games. Hopefully, man, hopefully something somewhere, somehow something clicks. Somehow. I mean, I've been begging for it for 3 seasons. 3 seasons, actually 2 seasons and 11 weeks now. So we'll see. Or I'm sorry, 12 weeks. We had a bye week. So I'm going to see, man. I'm really interested in seeing what happens. I mean, I have no issues on the defensive side of the ball. I don't see anything going. I know we got the injuries going, but I don't think Andy Dalton has like the let's see what the OC comes up with. But Andy Dalton don't have like the mobility or anything like that scares me, or puts any kind of onus on the defense, anything other than just a solid quarterback that can get the ball out. So we'll see what happens, man. But defensively, I think we can definitely hold up with them. Offensively, somehow, some way, again, this whole just lining up and playing, and just not scheming specifically to their weaknesses. Which for these guys, I want to talk about this tomorrow. These guys basically just if we could get their linebackers moving and not being able to get after our quarterback, put Cam Brate out there, put Cade Otton out there, and give old boy I got them losing it a little bit. Give that linebackers a little bit of something, to have them go out and defend the pass rather than getting after the passer.
Right.
Then I think we can be solid. I think we can get some stuff and make them hesitant on defense. They are hard. They're one of those defenses that's kind of like ours. They're like, just kind of put their head down and go, getting after the quarterback. Right. They have to scheme a little bit differently. Obviously, they're in a 4-3. We run a 3-4. They have to do it, a little bit differently. They can actually, just rush 4 because that's what they have there for, and not actually bring their linebackers in. But the Mario Davis, he comes in, he likes to blitz a lot. So get him out in the field and make him have to get him and one of those safeties out there and make them have to defend either, again, one of our tight ends, or this will be a good game to have Mike Evans in the slot again. Yeah. Get him off that one-on-one from Marshawn Lattimore that people say that he can't win. I've been in the games. I know good and damn well he be over. For some reason, we ain't throwing at him. But we'll see how that game plan goes. I want to talk about that a little bit deeper tomorrow. But yeah, man, that's gonna be a good one. That's gonna be week 13 for the Bucs. Week 12 versus Cleveland Browns did not go our way. Again, 23-17, loss in OT. Disappointing loss given the performance of the defense. And again, another recurrent act we have on our offense. Hopefully something, some way, somehow changes between now and Monday night at 8 o'clock in Tampa. Big Slam, man, I appreciate you coming back on and talking to me, man. It's been a long week. I'm gonna do this again, though, man. This is a long one. I never get tired of talking to you, man. I'm glad you put me on some thoughts I didn't have. Maybe see some things a little bit different way than I looked at them myself earlier. I appreciate you and the Swords and Cannons podcast, man. Let them know where they can find you, where you're gonna be next.
Yo, I appreciate that, Robert, man. Yo, it's on Swords and Cannons podcast. You can find me on Twitter. I tweet a lot on Twitter. I can't be real active on Twitter. You can tweet me at SCBucksPod on Twitter. You can find me at Swords and Cannons Bucks Podcast on Facebook. Like I say, man, you can find me on Twitter, man, involved in anything, all things that's going on, conversational wise about the Bucks, man. I ain't hard to find. Like I say, man, just is one of these guys that just really just trying to keep the conversation going about what's going on with the team and really league wise, and just bringing a different perspective to what's going on, and just kind of one by one trying to let guys know, let people know, man, that, it can be, things can be going a different way than what the narratives are, man. So I'm a kind of guy that like to play devil's advocate on a lot of things and challenge a lot of people on their positions on what's going on with the team. But all in all, man, it's all good. It's good debate. It's good conversation. And yeah, man, we every time we do this, Robert, man, we run long, but it's all good conversation, man. So I think if we do it more often, we won't go so long because we really be catching up with a lot of stuff. So it's all good to me, man. I love doing it, man. I don't have anything else to do. You call me on a good day, so it's all good conversation. I know you're gonna chop this up how you want to do it, but yeah, SC Bucks Pod at Twitter, man, on Twitter, and on Swords and Cannons Bucks Podcast on Facebook. Hit me up anytime. I'm always down to talk some Buccaneers football.
Hey, that's Big Slam. I am Robert Gray, man. I thank you guys for listening, thinking about it, who's been checking in online here, watching the live stream. I appreciate you all for listening. Again, we're going to bring up the preview tomorrow. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home versus the division rival, most hated New Orleans Saints. We'll check you guys out on the next one. You guys be easy. Go Bucks.
Go Bucks. Peace.